Well, welcome back. Long time no see. Um, remember, trying to remember back to our session two. We had a kind of a side story last week, or a filler episode, um, in which we had like a little winter festival where all of our different characters kind of competed in little miniature events that you might find in a type of winter festival, including like a sled pool. There was some cooking. Um, I think there might have been fire building. I'm not sure. Um, and then it closed out with ice sculpting, which I gotta thank my wife. That was such a great idea. Um, and your characters were told not to cheat during the ice sculpting event, not to use magic in order to do it, and nobody succumbed to that temptation. We must have a lot of uh, lawful good oriented folks here. But one NPC decided to try and use magic to manipulate the result and ended up bringing the sculpture to life and started a battle with our characters and had a nice, cool, like living elemental kind of ice thing, and was pretty treacherous. Our characters found out that casting fire spells was very effective against the elemental, but the fight took place on a lake, and so it ended up causing them to fall through the ice a couple of times and take damage. So I had a lot of fun with that battle. We handed out some pretty unique items, I think, which hopefully folks have kind of found and distributed a little bit from the chat. And that was our little side session. Session before that, you folks had kind of, I think it went all the way back to the forest. You guys solved the puzzle and brought the crew back to the airship and flew back to the capital of Denova. And you encountered a troubadour who was definitely kind of let you on to a growing population in Denova called the Commune of Radiance, which is kind of like its own little socialist sect, with definite religious undertones, or overtones, I guess you would say. And it's definitely one of those things where it seems to be providing for the people, but I think our party was fairly suspicious of the goings on and definitely wanted to investigate that and find out more about that. You spent a night in the pub drinking bilge water, which was a pretty nasty concoction that helped you folks relax after a tough adventure, and eventually Blair found their way back to the keep and had an overdue conversation with their father, King Roland of Denova. And I think overall that conversation went pretty well. But Blair chose very much to mostly listen in that conversation and be guided, and not to really contest or anything like that. And so King Roland showed concern and definitely wanted Blair to find and make their own way in the world. And I think we ended with the rest of the party kind of discovering Blair's connections to the royal family in Denova and meeting up there at the end of the session. So that's kind of where we're going to start today, and I will leave it up to you folks. If you have an idea of what you would like to do next, we can do that. If not, I also can run a GM scene and kind of give you some backstory to some of the events in the world.
First thing I want to ask is, how much should we be treating this like it's winter time? Is that
Um, Not really. That was mostly just a side story type kind of thing because it was Christmas time in where we are located. It seemed like the thing to do. Um, I would say that you can treat it as generally temperate unless you get directions to the otherwise. But
Okay.
I would say it's pretty clear, maybe a little bit cool. Not something that you really have to change dress for or prepare for.
Okay, I was mostly just asking, just curious what season we should
Hmm.
plan on being in.
Yep.
Because I was, regardless, I was gonna say Levine might want to possibly talk with the smith about repairs to her armor, or see about possibly getting that repaired soon, and or at the very least, she probably needs new clothes because they're falling apart. So that might be another thing too.
Okay.
Possibly talk with Cassandra about that in particular, about some stuff with that too. Mostly just because Levine is pretty big, and Edgar and Blair are like tiny, and she doesn't. She feels like Cassandra's rose would be most likely to fit her.
Okay. Well, you talk to a couple of the guards at the castle, and you are told that there is a blacksmith in town. The place is called Shoes and Shields, and you actually competed against the blacksmith in the games recently. So that's definitely a place you could visit in Denova to maybe take a look at your armor and see what can be done. There is also for clothing. Uh, there's a shop called Recettes Esoterica, which is very much kind of a catch-all. You could find just about. It's a very. It's kind of like a pawn shop in that its inventory is constantly changing. You might find totally normal stuff, or you might find a hidden gem type kind of thing there. But it seems like the kind of place where you might be able to pick up some clothes if you needed to as well.
Okay, yeah, blacksmith is definitely top priority. So that would probably be her first place you'd want to go.
All right. Is anyone else going along or doing anything different?
Um, I think Edgar would tag along.
Okay.
Be like, oh yeah, that's like, am I not dressed appropriately to go into the castle? I
Well,
I don't know, do we have to dress special?
I think you get the impression that only if you are engaging with royalty in some sort of event, like a feast or an audience or something, that you might need some more formal attire. And it doesn't sound as though Blair has already talked to their father, King Roland, and unless you are looking for an additional audience, getting formal clothes is not necessarily something that you would need to do, but it's certainly something you could do with the future in mind.
Now, if I recall correctly, we don't know about Blair's exact role there, right? We just know that the ship was funded by somebody at the castle,
Hmm.
and that's why we're heading over there.
We do have a note that says caretaker Louise to find Blair.
Yes.
so,
Yeah, because caretaker Louis is the one that paid. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I have.
So
I figured that's what I was gonna try to maybe do is look into the caretaker person to find Blair.
Okay. So when all of you arrived at the castle, you were guided in by the soldiers, and you meet caretaker Larice, and you can go ahead and ask any questions that you would like of caretaker Larice. They let you know that Blair will had an audience with King Roland and would probably be joining you again shortly.
but I suppose I would probably maybe just chit chat about general, like, how the mission went and stuff and some of the things that happened. Not necessarily trying to probe for like information per se, but more so trying to like just kind of get to know like just maybe trying to feel out the situation more so than like actually deeply probing and trying to ask like nosy questions, just sort of like trying to get vibes.
Okay. So Larice listens intently, and well, she says, I'm glad to hear that you're all okay, and that Blair has some fairly capable companions. I was worried about her. My job here at the Keep is very much to keep track of kind of the maintenance and the upkeep and the decorations and ceremonies and everything. But I also tend to Blair's needs very often, as there isn't much of a mother figure here to take care of Blair, and so I'm happy to hear that they return safe, and that all of you capably brought Blair back. But as to the actual details of battle, I'm afraid I'm just not very well versed. It's not really my forte.
Alright. Not everybody has to know everything. I couldn't tell you the first thing about caretaking for a castle, that's for sure.
Well, let me tell you, it is definitely a full-time occupation. I have my own room at the castle, and if something doesn't go wrong, if 3 things don't go wrong in a day, then it's a good day. And it's all about anticipating other people's needs and making sure that every room is prepared for every occasion as best you possibly can, and making it kind of keeping after some of the staff. And Larice kind of starts to trail on a little bit about this, and because she doesn't really have too many people to talk to about her day, and is happy that you took an interest.
Right? She seems very nice.
Dang.
So
Have you
yeah,
considered some?
I'm just
Oh,
mostly
sorry,
going to
go
be waiting for Blair to come out then, I guess. While
Yeah.
I'm chatting with Larice about stuff.
Well, are there
Unless Edgar has other ideas.
any other? I excuse me. I forget myself. Do you need anything? Any food or access to healing or any other services that the castle might be able to provide? I've been so happy to hear about Blair. I totally forgot to be a good host.
I will ask one thing really quick. Am I still poisoned?
Oh yeah, should we be healed and stuff in general?
Because should I be
From the-
healed and stuff from like me being an idiot?
So let
The
me.
Christmas special.
So,
Yeah, you were doing very concerning things. Levine knows how it feels now.
So all of our stats from the side story are pretty much gone, and I think everybody pretty much went to sleep with, got some sleep and had a full recovery before coming to the castle. So nothing egregious, but there's certainly, it's a castle. There might be things here.
Would I be allowed access to the library?
Not unescorted, but absolutely there is a castle library.
I don't mind someone following me. That's fine.
Larice says that you could talk to Preserver Ashara, who kind of maintains the library and is very well versed in particularly in the ways of magic and kind of how the kingdom relies on that and so on. So Larice says, I could certainly perform an introduction and take you there.
That would be wonderful. Is Edgar with me or with...
You're all still currently together?
Oh, we're all together.
Yeah, I thought we were
Okay,
all still.
okay.
But
I was-
Okay,
I
I
wasn't
just
sure
wanted to
myself.
clarify what was happening because I couldn't remember if that
yeah,
got clarified.
it's up to Levine and Edgar if they would like to have left and wait for everyone to join them, or if they want to leave to go run those errands later.
I wouldn't have left the castle to do it. I thought we were on our way to the guy. I didn't realize we were already there. So, and yeah, I'm still
Okay.
at the castle.
Okay.
I mean, Levine does feel apprehensive about being around royalty. Anybody who might have been to Amorica and seen her has probably been most likely to be there, so she doesn't want to. But I guess there is also the point now that she's getting a bit curious about what their records might say about Armorica. So I guess she will hang around a little bit for that. But she also put back on her on like a handkerchief. And she's like, I don't feel well. I got a chew because she's trying to obscure her
Your
face
body.
just a little bit. And she puts on her helmet too, and then closes that. She's just walking around with the handkerchief inside her helmet. No, handkerchief outside the helmet. Yeah, on the. Yeah, that's better.
For
So,
maximum ridiculousness.
Larice, at the very least, doesn't. Actually, let me roll for that. Larice doesn't really seem to recognize you in any way. Doesn't. I mean, she's obviously kind of looked over all of you and kind of understood that you are the company as described by Blair to her, and are trustworthy enough to show around the castle with an escort. She does not fear for her life or anything like that, and so everything's kind of a cursory glance. She doesn't really seem to recognize or pick out anything or scrutinize anything too terribly closely. But yeah, at this time, she says, "Follow me, please," and ushers you, let's see, up to the second floor of the Castle of Denova, which is still fairly massive. You came into a pretty large foyer with these two sets of curved staircases going around a big central statue leading up to the second floor, kind of a split level type kind of thing. So it's very much there's just like a little fountain in the middle of it, and the steps go up on either side of the fountain and then split off to the left and right. So there's kind of this full, huge, looming view. It's very impressive, especially for this world to have the architecture of something that has not only multiple stories, but you can see multiple stories from a single room. Very high ceilings and very Larice is quite good at her job. There's not a single window without tapestries or curtains or anything else like that. And so you go up the stairs, and she has you turn to the right onto the second floor, and beyond the balcony, walking along the balcony, you turn into a room that looks kind of like a modest library, actually. You might have expected something larger in the castle, but this appears to be probably, about a 40-foot by 40-foot room. So kind of a larger square with a single large desk in the middle of it. And behind that desk sits Preserver Ashara, who is rather elderly, advanced in age, kind of short in stature, a little bit of a telltale hunch, but someone who still gets around pretty well on their own. Thick glasses and hair very much just kind of tied up in a very loose type kind of ponytail. Someone who knows how to kind of who has presented themselves with enough effort to show that they care, but to be very low maintenance, right? This person appears to be very take their job very seriously, and definitely has the appearance of someone who spends a lot of time reading and a lot of time in this library, and she says, "Oh, yes. How rarely do we get guests in the library? What can I do for you? Larice, go and wait for Blair, and I'll entertain our guests with any questions they might have."
Oh, I feel like Levine is probably standing up. I'm also wondering how much Levine might be a bit, like, triggered almost. Like, this is like the first time she's been in a castle in a while. So how much does this remind her of long ago, would you say?
Well, think about Levine's home of Armorica. Was Armorica's castles similarly? I mean, this is still kind of a modest castle overall. I mean, it does appear large and luxurious from the inside and everything, but this room seems a little bit smaller and more manageable and slightly plain. It's got kind of a cobblestone floor, and it is wall-to-wall books in like a 10-foot high room, so something that's a little bit larger than normal. And all the way around the room is just books and books and books, and like a ladder with wheels that'll kind of roll along the sides, kind of like you might see at a bar or a library for reaching the top shelf, that is generally out of reach. Yeah, I guess think about what maybe Armorica's castles would have looked like. Were they grand and imposing, or were they, or was that unimportant to Armorica?
I think they would have been a bit grand and imposing, so I think she feels pretty much at calm here. She is still going to wait, though, because she doesn't want to ask for her stuff just yet. She trusts her companions a lot more than previous ones, but she's still going to try to do this in a way she doesn't want to give out too much information, so she's waiting.
Okay. I would say, why don't you go ahead and roll a might and willpower die with a difficulty class of 10, just to kind of see whether you're able to maintain your focus, or whether those memories kind of creep back and distract you a little bit.
Okay. It's a 10 and an 8. Is this a 10? This looks like a 10. Okay. Ooh, I got an 11.
11. Yeah, this is... You thought that it might cause some difficult memories to rush back, but really there's a little bit of nostalgia and home that's also kind of comforting to you. And really, you are looking around and taking everything in, but it's not bothering you, strictly speaking.
Okay, yeah, and I guess she's just gonna hide in the doorway. Wait, is there even a doorway?
Yeah,
She's standing, a bit back from the friends. At the
I mean,
moment,
it's a big doorway. Like, you can't. I mean, Levine is probably in her armor used to being imposing in a doorway. But in a building of this size with slightly higher ceilings, you don't quite take up the whole doorway, and so you were maybe leaning on the frame a little bit more, and it's something. Normally Levine dwarfs a lot of the other people that she's around, but in this doorway she looks normal sized.
So I do have a question, but I don't know. I don't think it's in those books. Though I cannot wait to dig in. Does Blair work here?
Right?
Blair is the daughter of King Roland. Blair is the heir to the throne of Denova.
Edgar drops his book.
Just everyone pauses for a second.
The big cloud of dust comes up when the book hits the ground, and The
Does
you
make a
can
lot
you
of
can tell that
sense.
the preserver Ashara cares deeply about the book actually
Well, that was
more
sorry,
than your
that was his
feelings.
notebook. His notebook, not
It-
he. I didn't grab a book from the
Still,
library. Yeah.
her
Still
care
cares.
her care
Just
for all
a
things
book.
written is her eyes definitely follow it as it hits the ground, and that's everything around here is fairly neat and tidy and organized, and so that is immediately out of place, and she kind of bristles at it just a little bit.
I'll turn to like Cassandra. Did you know? Turn to Levine. Did you know? Turn to Zinnia. Did you know?
Levine is gonna say, "Yeah, no, I knew it."
Wait, what?
Okay.
I mean, in Levine's head, she had already kind of put Blair at kind of this weird pedestal for her determination. So when the first sign of royalty came in, she's like, "Oh yeah, obviously a princess."
I mean, it does make sense. I didn't know. I just definitely it makes a lot of sense.
It should be noted Levine didn't do this completely out of logic. It was just
No, yeah.
hardcore
Just
faith or something.
I mean, I think maybe I suspected, but I don't believe I knew.
Wait, does that mean we were on a royal mission? That's amazing. He'll pick up his book again and just start furiously writing in it.
So I did have some questions for Preserver Ashara as well, but I kind of wanted to talk to Edgar about it first.
Yes, of course. Take your
And then
time.
maybe out of
If I could make it's small detail. It's you weren't exactly on a royal mission. It wasn't sponsored by the castle. If it was sponsored by the castle, Blair would have traveled with an armed guard. They kind of maybe sort of absconded and with a little bit of money and hired their own airship without necessarily using their connection to the castle. I mean, the castle's money, make no mistake, but
I was gonna say I didn't the
not with the
faithful, right?
blessing or the ardor of the castle.
see.
Someone drop out, come back in.
So Blair embezzled money to go on this mission? Or stole?
Embezzled
money?
is a
Is that what I'm hearing?
is a strong word. More like borrowed without permission.
I mean, they were technically correct
Misappropriate?
that something was going down over there, so.
That is
Wait, does that make
true,
us
but
criminal?
it is generally, and I don't want to comment too much on politics, but I can speak for history of Denova, and ever since the Elonian Empire has begun expanding, it's very much been the policy of Denova to steer clear of conflict and to let them do their thing, and as long as they aren't really encroaching or threatening violence or blocking trade routes or anything, to more or less let them be. And so it definitely was not a sanctioned activity.
See, and that's all Cassandra says. Because she's now salty with this kingdom. Just
Levine
thinking
is writing
cowards in
down.
her head.
Levine is actually writing down in her notebook, like, Blair is actually a princess and possibly a felon. Just for note later.
And
should make legal arguments to keep Blair out of jail.
And so it's right about this time that you hear footsteps, heavy footfalls, clack, 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 approaching the hall, and you see that Larice is now ushering Blair into the room, and where her normal, very polite and welcoming demeanor is kind of shifted. She's more subservient and following behind Blair, but still very much ushering her into the room. and Blair has arrived in the doorway behind Levine, and Larice quietly curtsies and backs away down the hall without making any sounds.
Yeah, Blair kind of steps in, surveys the library, and then her former party mates, and just kind of forces a smile, even though she's kind of, still worked up for the conversation with good old Dad. And just offers a little wave and says, "Hey, how are you guys?"
Edgar points directly at them
Oh.
and says, "Royal." Looks at the librarian and says, "Loyalty."
Levine is
Blair-
also suddenly bowing next to Edgar with her head down as a sign of respect. So
Blair
Edgar
has that
notices
oh
this and
Pikachu face.
Edgar starts bowing so low.
You guys don't have to bow. It's okay.
I don't think Cassandra bows, actually. I think she just nods at you.
Levine
Not in like a
isn't-
rude way, but like just a nod.
Levine is
Oh.
feeling a little awkward now, but she's fully committed to this kneel, so she's gonna stay like that until she feels like she can get up.
Look, you guys don't have to bow, honestly. I wanted to apologize first, and Blair starts to kind of rub their arm with their other hand, feeling kind of bad, and is like, I could have got you guys hurt, and I really appreciate all that you've done. But if you still want to kind of continue the journey with me, my dad suggested we take the compass to Preserver Astra to look at. Here.
Wait, are we? So wait, are we not on the run?
Run?
Yeah, from the authorities because you stole all this money.
I hope not. I don't.
I'm
I
ready
don't
to be on the run.
I don't think we're
I
in
was
trouble.
born ready.
I already talked to my dad. He seemed okay.
Preserver Ashara
I
kind of cuts in and says, overall, it's kind of a minor transgression. It's not the first time this kind of thing has happened." And she kind of shoots Blair kind of one of those knowing looks like, this isn't even really the worst thing that you've done with the kingdom's money before.
It's okay. It's not the first time I've been on the run.
There was that
And
time that
Blair's
Blair was
like-
really into Beanie Babies.
Oh my god.
It cost the kingdom a arm and a leg.
I was thinking something so similar. I didn't think Beanie Babies, but I was like, it was something absurd. Like just buying so many toys for some reason.
They have all the Funko Pops.
There you go. And Blair just kind of puts their arms behind them and is like, right. But yeah, we're okay. So yeah. Is everyone okay with that plan? Or any thoughts or feelings you wanted to share, since I didn't come forward about being, the heir here?
I'll say Cassandra's gonna walk up and just hold out her hand and introduce herself to you again.
Blair will smile and take your hand and shake it. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Levine will stand up and just say, "Ready and waiting." Also, how much do we know about Cassandra being? much is that
Cassandra
canon
would have
in
been very open about the fact that she was a former Skyrider captain. She also would have been very open about her, at least because I don't think I hid anything about the fact that she knew Desdemona and Tristan.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure before I.
But yeah, because I was using some of the Skyrider captain stuff when that ship was crashing. Although I didn't do it right, but I tried.
Even Zinnia's from a bigger kind of kingdom, right? Or
I think
He's from a really small kingdom.
but from like the capital or from just somewhere?
I think it's more of a city state. I don't think it actually has. I think it's just a capital, like a city
It's like
inside
Rome
a
or
magic
the
forest.
Vatican.
Oh yeah, Zinnia's with us, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, I do think
Zinnia's
that
in
maybe
close
I
too,
would have
that's
made
right.
sure that Zinnia was being fed if Zinnia needed food, because Zinnia is a child, right? Like canonically a child.
Also, are pets allowed? Because we've got this thing.
You get the feeling that you are the guests of royalty, and so even if animals aren't necessarily allowed, the rules are gonna bend while Blair is in the room.
Gotcha.
Okay. But yeah, I think what we should do first, though, is maybe have a quick little meeting, because you said that Blair said that the king said that we could talk to Preserver Ashara about the compass, but I'm wondering if we should like narrow down a list of what we all want to explain, because I don't think we necessarily need to hide anything at this point, because if we hide anything, we're going to be lacking answers, but at the same time, what questions should we be asking? Like, so we get the right answers, or better or good answers or something.
Well, if they're in a better spot to, observe this thing, then yeah, I can't see why we wouldn't. I mean, I would have loved to have a crack at it, but it's probably better and safer in the hands of the kingdom, my liege. And he bows again.
And if you want to take a look at it,
Levine takes a knee not to be outdone.
I'm going to pick Levine up by the collar and just make her stand. Like, you're making Blair uncomfortable. Stop it.
She begrudgingly stands upright. Shoulders completely tense now though, but she's like,
I don't know, it's my first time at a castle. It's just so...
I get that, but I think Blair didn't tell us that they were royalty for a reason. And this is why.
Yeah, because they stole all the money. But
kind
wait,
of
hold on.
hides the face and just walks away.
I mean, that was
a
probably
minute.
part of the reason, but like, this is also part of it.
He opens his notebook, and right in front of where he wrote felon, he scribbles a not.
what was the name of
God.
the what was the name of the librarian? Because while they're kind of
Preserver
distracted,
Ashara.
And at this
Astra.
point, Preserver Ashara kind of realized
Astra.
that you probably would have wanted some privacy in this conversation, and so she's gone back to kind of looking at a couple different tomes and sitting at her desk and studying some of the parchment she has handy, and has pretty much tuned you out and is back in the zone again.
okay, Levine is gonna take this moment while they're all distracted and ask her, she kind of quietly, if she has anything on the history of Armorica.
Preserver Ashara says, "Are you talking to me? Are you ready for me? Are you asking me a question?"
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Do you have anything on the history of Armorica, particularly about its downfall?
Certainly.
She's like looking over her shoulder
And
a little bit.
it's at this moment that you see Ashara, without actually looking up from what she's doing, she raises a hand, and there's this little... She makes kind of a motion, not quite a snapping motion, but like a turn of her wrist, and there's this slight kind of purplish trail right behind her fingers, like almost like a shadow, and you can tell that there's a little bit of magic being used here. And Levine, you notice on the left side of the room that one specific row of books, it's about 8 or 10 rows of books high, 8 or 10 shelves worth of books high. About the third shelf from the bottom all the books start to shift downwards and mysteriously keep going behind the corner of the room, and more books continue to appear, and right next to you it eventually stops, and one book kind of pops out and towards your hand, kind of almost lending itself to you immediately.
Okay, well, I guess Levine's gonna try to make a stealth. She kind of hates the magic flowing around. It's gonna be so obvious, but she's gonna try to stealth her way to grabbing that.
You don't have to make a check. You are being offered this book by Preserver
No, I'm trying to
Ashara.
stealth it from friends behind me
us.
at the moment.
Oh, okay. Well,
magic
oh,
is
you
too
want to
big,
like
it's too
stealth
obvious.
and take it, type kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Before they notice.
Let's see. So make a. So this is very sleight of hand. Let's do double dexterity check, please.
Okay, that's not my worst stat, so. Hey, I got double fours. Nice.
Double
Yeah.
fours.
That's an 8.
You take the book. You're not sure whether anybody noticed or not.
Yeah, I'm just gonna just stuff it into one of my packs quick, and then just try to join them back with their what they were talking about.
Mhm.
Figure I'll read it a little later.
All right, carry on.
What do you guys talk about?
I'm pretty sure Blair's just gonna kind of like look at Edgar and just say, if you want to take a crack at the compass, you should.
Well, yeah. I mean, are we giving up this thing, or are they just taking a look? Because I mean, it's gonna take me some time to be able to.
I was just advised to offer, the person to look at it. But other than that, I'm not really inclined to give it up if it's a clue to deal with the Lonian Empire or something.
Well, that's okay. Then yeah, maybe we can get them to take a look at it.
And maybe there's some books here even that can help us delve into
Yeah.
what this thing might actually be.
And Blair's gonna go kind of look for a book on that to see if there's anything they can find. They're just gonna kind of wander off.
guess Levine might
Ashara
help
does
Edgar.
nothing as far as she's concerned. They are all your books anyway, so doesn't even, again, very much in her research and digging into that and letting you do your thing.
So like I do have some specific questions I think Cassandra would want to know.
Mhm.
Because so she has a personal connection to both Desdemona and Tristan.
Mhm.
And I feel like because of that she felt kind of offended on Tristan's behalf that Desdemona was trying to resurrect him.
Mhm.
Because like there isn't like as far as she knew he was gonna come back as like some sort of weird undead abomination instead of like Tristan,
Mhm.
and that was just unacceptable to her. So I do feel like she would want to like know if there's a way to communicate with the soul that's trapped inside of the compass. And she would probably also want to know like what actually is this compass? Like what is it and why is it holding a soul and why can it do that is like what she wants. And like we don't have to answer all those questions today or whatever, but like that's what she wants to know.
Has any of those been vocalized?
She's gonna ask them but she wants to talk to Edgar about it first, is what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
So like, so do you think if the preserver can't give us more information, we could try to maybe try to ask if there's other places we could travel to get more information about this compass and the Elonian kingdom?
Is it known as the astral compass by chance?
Like, what is it like? Because I know you haven't really had a chance to actually really kind of take a deep look at it, but have you speculated at all what you think it is, or?
I don't have any clue as to what it is.
I'll try. We were working on the clock thing and figure out what it was, and Edgar did do a couple checks with that before, right? 1 or 2.
Yeah, but I think at that point we still didn't know very much about it. We just knew like, because like I think too part of it is that Cassandra's also not sure if there is like a soul like I said, we know that there's a soul trapped inside of this compass. And she's also going to ask, because like if we find out that this is a bad thing, can we figure out a way to get rid of Tristan's soul out of it entirely and like destroy it instead of keeping it with us? Or do we have to keep it with us? Do you think you could figure out a way to destroy it? Because it seems like a magical thing would be hard to break.
I mean, if it's a machine, we could take it apart. But I got a feeling that's a bit more than that.
I have that
Eh.
feeling too.
And I don't know what kind of energy it contains, so I wouldn't want it to catastrophically explode and burn my eyebrows off.
Yeah.
You do have
that's
nice
fair.
eyebrows.
Oh, thank you. He smiles and he does that same face as his portrait.
Adorable.
And then I think one of the other things that she would probably do, because like as long as Edgar is more in the mindset of discussing this stuff with Preserver Ashara maybe first, and then we can talk more about what to do about the compass. But I think that's kind of she's just more so, how do I just she's been like probably overthinking a lot of her choices in regards to like what happened and whether or not she did the right thing. But at the same time, she feels like she did do the right thing. Like a crisis of conscience to a point. Because now I feel like she has to confront a little bit more about the fact that if she was wrong and maybe there was nothing wrong with what Desdemona was doing, and it was just like a weird ritual, that then she'll just feel like she was like made the bad choice.
You mean, and are you conflicted about having stopped?
More so, she's worried that Tristan did want to get resurrected, and she assumed the wrong thing, and shouldn't have interfered, and maybe just backed off.
I mean, that's a tough question. That's a toughie there, Cassandra, because I mean, people die. It happens and it hurts. But sometimes that's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Which is
do we
why
trust-
her initial reaction to that whole ritual was like, how dare you? But now she's a little bit. But I think she probably thanks Edgar for saying that, and just sort of like reaches out and squeezes his arm and like kind of just takes a deep breath and
The metal one?
yeah, sure, why not?
It doesn't squeeze at all.
Just like, oh yeah, I forgot.
It's all right.
Levine
I
doesn't
work out.
necessarily. I was just gonna say Levine doesn't necessarily know how to help that, but she also doesn't know how to help with the compass at all. But she knows we should ask people who do that. So I think she's just gonna ask Cassandra, do we trust people like Preserver Ashara or other royalty about asking them about this compass?
Blair trusts Preserver Ashara. I see no reason not to at this point. The worst that can happen is they try to take the compass from us, and then we'll just steal it back.
Blair, do
Levine
you
gets
trust?
like a pit in her stomach.
Blair, do you trust Preserver Ashara?
Above table, do I have any really long-standing relations with them, or is that something that I would?
Preserver Ashara
Sort of
has
determined.
worked in this library longer than you have been alive, and has a very close not a close relationship, but like a mutual kind of respect relationship with King Roland. And from what you've been able to glean over the years, this person is essentially like a librarian, a historian, and a scientist, all rolled into one. And her endeavors are very scientific in nature. She has experience with many kinds of magic, but only wields them for the purposes of discovery, never for conflict. It's all about the discovery of knowledge and the preservation of knowledge for Ashara. So you get the feeling that King Roland has been advised by Preserver Ashara many times and has been welcomed even informally. Like, Preserver Ashara is the type of the type of person who doesn't even necessarily stand on ceremony and does not have a problem showing up for an audience with the king without an appointment or without an escort or anything, and just kind of wandering and saying, "Hey, I found this out. I think you need to know about this," or and so you get the feeling that there is a relationship there, and that your father trusts this person as an advisor, based on those interactions.
Okay. Then Blair would definitely nod and just be like, yeah, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't trust their information.
And anyone else who wants to could also try to perform an insight check on Preserver Ashara if they would like.
I think Levine would definitely like to do that.
Edgar's
Is
good.
that double insight?
Yeah.
Cassandra's good. Like I said, if Blair trusts... Levine is hyper paranoid, so I understand.
Levine kind of also wants to do it as a halfway an intimidation check to really make her think about if she does anything to wrong us.
Mm-hmm.
Am I allowed to do that?
Certainly. You can roll a double insight. The difficulty class on this is going to be a 16.
God. Dang. So apparently she does not take well to intimidation. Okay.
This person has been on this earth for a very long time and knows who they are.
Okay, she's just gonna stare at her. She's gonna say like, "We're gonna ask you something, and you better not cross us."
Levine, shut up.
Whoa,
And
whoa,
I got
what?
a 9.
And, okay. Preserver Ashara stares piercingly back into your soul, like actually stops writing for a second, looks up to you, and says, "Oh, so you're finally going to ask me a question? Well, get on with it." And just kind of matches your nerves without hesitation.
I'm thinking back to that crate a little bit, but she's just gonna kind of ruminate in a moment.
I think one of the first things we should do, Edgar should take out the compass and just start showing it to her, to be honest.
All right. For some reason, I thought we were talking about something else. Or someone else, rather. I didn't know we were talking about that lady right there. Why were we were being so rude?
Okay, last I checked, and I might be wrong here, but I think
I just wish she
Cassandra
wasn't
has the
listening.
compass.
Oh, I have the compass? I thought Edgar had it last. Okay.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to be Cassandra overall.
Okay, I'll take out the compass then.
Okay.
And show it to her and then ask if she knows anything about soul magic, I guess. Or
And
magic to do with souls.
For the first time, you see, actually, you roll, Cassandra roll a double insight check.
Okay. 2 D6s.
Yep.
Be so good.
Yeah, we're both so insightful.
I think it's kind of funny too, because she was like a captain. She probably should be a little bit more insightful, but whatever. 9.
Okay. So for the first time, you notice an eyebrow sort of out of place. Like, you make eye contact with Preserver Ashara, and the mention of soul magic just barely causes her to lose control of one eyebrow, just kind of lifts just a little bit before it goes back to normal. And you get the impression that this is the first time in a long time that Preserver Ashara has been surprised by something or by someone asking something. And she says, "Let me see that trinket you've got there." And as you hold it out to her, she comes out from behind her desk, and looks very closely at it. Doesn't touch it, but leans in, and you can see kind of a flash of very pale yellow light in one lens of her glasses, and you get the impression that she is doing something, sort of poking or trying to look at its properties in a magical way, and then it flashes green, and then it flashes purple, and then it flashes yellow, and then goes back to clear. She says, "Where did you get this?"
We didn't tell Preserve. Okay, so we only told the caretaker Larisse
Mhm.
about. So I'm going to kind of break down like a quick replay of the battle that we fought with Desdemona and what she was doing with the compass.
Mhm. And she hangs on every word, not making eye contact with you, but mostly looking at the compass the entire time. And when you finish, there's a pause. She says, "No one has." This is a very curious trinket, and if it is what I think it is very dangerous. Soul magic is, well, let me tell you a little bit about the magic of this world. And so, sorry, I gotta reach into my notes here real quick. She says,
I'm glad I picked the right terminology for that.
What's that?
I'm glad I landed on a good terminology for that.
I know I have it here somewhere. There it is. Preserver Ashara looks at Zinnia and says, You're a practitioner of natural or wild magic, are you not?" Which you are. And
Your mic went green, but we didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what my line was. I forgot it. She'll say, I can talk to cats. Does that count?
it does. And if
can
you
talk
are
to cats?
if you are versed in the ways of monsters and creatures and are able to harness their abilities, that is natural and wild magic. Many of the magics of this world have an opposite. So, for example, young lady, your magic is the mirror, and she turns from Zinnia and looks at Cassandra and says, "It's the mirror of your magic," where natural and wild magic is generally opposed by elemental magic. There are other types of magic in this world. If you ever meet an arcanist, and perhaps pray that you don't meet an angry one, they are very much practitioners of control and binding magic. And there are some who practice chaos magic, and they call themselves entropists, and they are the opposite of the arcanists. There are also chanters who use spoken magic, and symbologists who use written magic, who are opposites of each other. There are also lore masters who use mind magic, and their opposite, dancers that use body or kinetic magic. And then her gaze slowly turns to Blair and says, "Blair, do your companions know what kind of magic you possess?"
Blair would kind of glance over and then just do like a little shake of her head, like, I didn't really go out of my way to explain it, no.
Um, uh, I might actually be wrong about this. Do you have levels in Spiritist, or is it just Orator?
I have some levels in Spiritus
Okay,
and
good.
Lore Master and Orator, so it's all three.
Yeah. So yes, that is the magic that Preserver Ashara is specifically referring to here.
Okay. Yeah, Blair would just sort of, like, not really say definitively, kind of expecting the Preserver to explain it better, because they're still kind of, wrapping their head around their own magic. Like, I'm still getting the hang of it, but I don't know how to describe it in a very analytical way.
And I will give you folks notes on this then. So Preserver Ashara says Blair's magic is a partial practitioner of Spiritism. They are a Spiritist, which is life and healing and preservation magic. And many people in this world think that Spiritist life magic does not have an opposite, but it does, and it is called soul magic. Sometimes in ancient texts I've seen it also referred to as death magic, and it is not to be trifled with. And the reason that so little is known about soul magic is because all magics in this world have a cost, and soul magics have incredible costs and incredible power. Be very careful with this object. I have devoted my life to studying all of these different types of magic, and it's at this point that you see Preserver Ashara there is much more to her than maybe you initially thought. She very subtly demonstrates that, and above table, she has mastered the following classes. She is a master chimerist, a master elementalist, a master entropist, a master spiritist, a master arcanist, and a master symbologist. Okay, so 10 levels in all those classes.
Damn.
So we just don't ever pick a fight with her ever.
She a master baiter too.
Smack us down.
Levine could tell she's pretty strong just by the way she stared at her. Also, she's never seen someone stare at her so angry before, so she's on more guard now.
And so you kind of see, as Preserver Ashara is telling you all of this, small demonstrations of each of these different types of magic that she is a master of. There's kind of a green glow with, and you can kind of see images of various monsters, and Zinnia in particular notices this as chimerism magic, as a way of sort of drawing on a library of monsters that that person has met before. You see also several glyphs show up in rotating different colors, and Cassandra, you recognize this as elementalist magic. It's shifting between fire and ice and lightning and all different types of spells that an elementalist would know. You also see a dark sphere with purple energies with completely random particles bouncing in all directions, and none of you are familiar with this type of magic. There's also a gentle yellow glow which Blair recognizes as spiritist magic, and then some runic symbols, and then also an actual materialization of a guardian creature that you have never seen before looming over top of Preserver Ashara. These are presumably other magics that you have not yet encountered. And so you get the impression that this person is very well traveled and knows a lot about magic. And Preserver Ashara says, there is nothing in my repertoire of spells that resonates with this piece, but it is definitely magical. And the only thing that I can tell you about this is to be very careful with it and ensure that it does not fall into the wrong hands. I fully believe in the possibility, and now it's not something that I can test, of course, but I believe in the possibility there are myths and legends of practitioners of soul magic who have done incredible things. There is no such thing in this world, in Calibri, as true resurrection, but there are those who have tried using this magic. And then there are potentially artifacts used to commune with this type of magic to potentially stave off death or cause unnatural twists in fate. And the reason that no one knows that much about them is because most people who attempt to use this magic do not survive. And she finally kind of looks up and awaits your next question and your response.
Cassandra's next question is, do you think it would make any sense at all for us to go back to the site where the ritual was happening to try to find the artifact, or is that just a dead end?
I'm not sure. It sounds as though the crater, at one time there was a great calamity, and she thinks about it for a minute and says, if this is truly an artifact of soul magic, it may be what caused the crater and the catastrophe. But I can only speculate. I'm not sure if you would find anything else back there. I suspect you wouldn't, based on the reports that we have about the crater and what is left of that place. But as you travel the world, you may meet. You may find tomes more ancient than the ones that we have here, or mages braver than myself who have toyed with this magic and lived. But it is not I. I do not toy in this magic. It is dangerous.
Understandable. Cassandra is now very secure in her choices.
I think
it's a good conversation for her.
Levine is hearing about her, and since Levine isn't super aware of her own magic, I think she wants to ask that. She wants to ask, what's her name again? Ashara.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to ask Ashara, do you know about my magic?
I do. Your magic is sacrificial magic. It is related to soul magic. It costs your life force in order to use. But generally speaking, inflicting a dark wound is not the same as subverting death or fate. It is related, but it is not the same. Generally speaking, your magic comes from a place of courage and valor that used to protect your allies, to sacrifice yourself for something greater. Soul magic is about taking life. It is about malevolence. It is about perversion of death and fate. So, certainly I can see why you would think that it is similar, and it is, but the way in which it is used is not the same. You aren't in danger, but you may find that your magic resonates in a certain way with soul magic.
Okay,
That's actually
I will.
helpful, though.
I will say Levine too. Like that's like the nicest thing anyone in her life has ever told her, and it puts her at such great. Like she just has tears streaming down her face, and she's just standing there like emotionless and just nodding slightly.
Just pat Levine on the back. It's gonna be okay.
The
Oh,
nicest
you're all
thing anyone has ever said.
incredible. All have these magic things. I'm a little
Edgar,
jealous.
Edgar, you can literally make a metal arm.
Well,
It's-
yeah, but I mean that's not the same.
It's up there.
Preserver
Levine
Ashara
feels
kind
so
of
bad now for looking at.
I'm pretty
Ashara
jealous
like
that
a
you can
crate.
do that. So
Preserver Ashara butts in at this point and kind of looks over Malcrios, or excuse me, Edgar's form, and says, "You have something special there. It seems that you have dabbled in magitech, have you not?"
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's just using the intrinsic magical properties of items, and then channeling the energy through it, not through me.
And in its own way, it is a magic. It's more of a marriage of uh, of science and magic, of technology and magic, and none do it greater than the Elonians. That is how they came to conquer the United States of Armorica was discoveries in magitech weaponry, finding metals and materials that synergize with magic in a particular way, in order to wield it without formal magical training. And you kind of get the impression that Preserver Ashara might be fangirling a little bit here, because that's very much a world that she is interested in, but it happened so late in her life that it's not something that she was able to train in necessarily, but it is something that she had always theorized, and seeing your arm and kind of the sort
Offers a
of
little bit.
magitech technology that you're talking about, she's quite interested, and yeah.
Oh well, I mean, if you want to take a look, and he just like plops his arm off and puts it down in front of her.
And without blinking, she takes it from you and starts looking over it very extensively, and asks you a couple questions about how it works, and you answer. Well, do you answer honestly, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's all about sharing the knowledge.
And he says, "Oh, that's most interesting. I would love to run some tests. Can I keep this?"
I mean, no, not. I mean, not forever. I mean, I could build another one, and then you can have the old one. But
That
I
would be
kinda
most
need-
good. Most good. I would enjoy that immensely. Do quickly. Do so quickly. And she kind of reluctantly hands your own arm back to you.
you're gonna steal your own arm back, Edgar.
Edgar shakes his own hand and and then reattaches it on his shoulder.
Funny.
Are there any other questions I could answer for you?
Oh,
I think I'm
Is
good.
there a way to like, because you said this is a dangerous artifact, so we probably shouldn't mess with it, right?
What do you mean, mess with it? I mean, use it?
I was
No, I definitely wouldn't use it.
not use it. I was wondering if we could maybe destroy it to prevent it from being used, or should we just leave it alone?
So she says, let me see it one more time.
Kind of don't wanna, because I feel like you won't give it back.
She says, "Oh no, I don't want it, but if you want to see if it can be destroyed, I can quickly test its abilities."
That's
She
fair.
gave me my arm back, so I mean,
That's fair.
she's
I'll
probably
give
gonna
it.
give me
I'll
the compass back.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll give her the compass.
Veen is getting battle ready, not even necessarily because of Ashara, but because she has no idea what that compass can do. So she's like getting her blade armed and ready, just watching.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't necessarily want to destroy it right here and right now. I'm just wondering if it comes down to it, if we can.
Okay.
Like, if they try to come after it, I feel like our last resort is going to have to be destroying it. To
So,
prevent them from doing whatever dastardly thing they wanted to do with it.
you hold out the compass, and you see, it slowly rises out of your hands, and you can see Preserver Ashara's hands now have a purplish glow to them, and she's holding them in front of them, almost like she's holding the compass, but from further away, right? So holding it, kind of keeping it levitated on its own, and you can see her hands start to close around where the compass would be if it was in her hands, and you see her start to pull. Her fingers clench and start to pull, and what you see at the compass is almost beyond description. The very fabric of reality seems to start to rip, and the compass, around the compass, what was just a normal room in the library, there now appears to be this very dark void surrounding this compass, and you can see the compass begins to shrink and flatten. But what you notice is that it's a visual distortion. It appears that it is flattening, but the compass is not breaking. It is not. Its integrity is intact, and you can see that it begins to, the Preserver Ashara starts to pull her hands this way and that, like she's working bread dough, and in time the compass begins to stretch at unnatural angles and here and there, and becomes this amorphous shape. And then Ashara abruptly clasps her hands together, and the purple magic around her hand stops, and the compass falls back into Cassandra's hands, completely unharmed. And Preserver Ashara says, "I see no natural magical means of destroying this, and I suspect that mechanical means would be no greater aid in this. I don't know if it can be destroyed, but if it can, it would have to be something powerful, something that I don't know."
Yeah, Levine was just trying to roll initiative the whole time because she was freaking out. So,
And at this moment, I need Cassandra, if you would join me in another voice channel.
Okay.
ooh, well, I'm gonna use the bathroom break.
Hello.
Hey, so when the compass left your hand, Cassandra felt very much sort of afraid. particularly because Tristan's soul is in that compass, and so you started to have doubts and about whether you were actually ready for the compass to be destroyed, or if you even should destroy the compass. And you heard, while this was happening, you heard Tristan's voice. You couldn't make out what it was saying, but you heard Tristan's voice. And when the compass fell back into your hands, that kind of stress and anxiety kind of washed away, as did Tristan's voice.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes. Alrighty.
Let's switch back.
Thank you. Egg.
And Preserver Ashara says, I believe I've helped you with this compass as much as I am able. I have to the best of my knowledge, which is vast, I have never read about a soul magic compass of any kind. So, and probably the knowledge of this artifact died with the people that were in the crater. I'm afraid that I'm probably not going to be able to be of any more help, and you will have to be a bit of a scientist, a bit of a researcher, but bear in mind that it's very dangerous testing that you would be attempting in doing so.
Okay, so Cassandra's gonna turn to Edgar and be like, well, we have a pretty brilliant person on our side, so I think at the very least we'll stay safe.
Oh, shucks.
And then she's just gonna take the compass and put it away safely. And then also thank you to thank you to Preserver Ashara for all of the information and for helping them out with all of this stuff. And then I'll just wait to see if anybody else has something they want to do or ask about.
I think Levine's good for now.
Yeah, you already stole your book.
No, you don't know about that.
No, I
So
know.
stealthy.
I think Edgar is good.
You might know about that. I don't know.
I
Okay.
definitely wasn't paying attention to what you were doing, I'll be honest.
Then I wish you well in your quest, and ensure, if your goal is to destroy this object, make sure in so doing that it does not fall into the wrong hands. And I bid you good day, she says. And as you all begin to walk out, Levine, you feel a tickle, like hair standing up on the back of your neck, that cause you to turn back on your way out the door, and you're the last one out. And
That's the security system, isn't it? The whole book.
and so you
Sorry.
you turn around and look, and Preserver Ashara's lips are not moving, but you hear her voice in your head. And she says, "You may hang on to that tome as long as you need, but see that it finds its way back, Armorican princess."
Two
She's like-
princesses?
And no one else hears this. It's just in your head.
Oh.
She's like feels pretty sick at the moment. But in her head, she tries to like think really hard in response and say, "I will return it."
And
I don't know if she can hear her, but
and Preserver Ashara says, You don't have to think so loudly.
Oh, okay.
Preserver Ashara says, you can constipate yourself that way. Go on now.
Oh yeah, she's right.
Why is Living squinting like this?
You know, Levine's just kind of like hobbling around with a stomach ache now. Between all the anxiety and all that, it's just a knot in her stomach.
Larice appears behind you as you walk out of the library.
Can I
And
ask a question?
oh, sure.
My question. So Zinnia was asked Ashara about the arm and says, if there's lots of different magics, are there lots of different magitechs too?
Ooh, good question.
Preserver Ashara tells you that Magitech is it depends. It's still very new, and her understanding of it is relatively limited, but from what she has heard and seen, different types of metal or ore or different types of material resonate with magic in different ways. And so, where you might have one type of metal resonates very strongly with elemental magic, you might have another type of material that resonates very strongly with chaos magic. And so, technically, sure, different types of magitech, but they're really kind of facets of existing technology
Interesting.
and existing magic.
Yeah, I'd imagine, like, I compare it to, like, a tuning fork. There's different tuning forks for the different tones, but that's basically, it's the same fork. It's just, made a little different. It's kind of the same thing with Magitech.
Levine
In
is
my
actually
experience.
listening in closely too, because this reminds her of Gimme and all his ramblings. So she's listening and nodding.
Any other
Gosh,
questions?
she's so smart.
Again.
No. Zinnia will say, so someone that knows a lot about magitech might be able to help us with this compass, even if they don't know about soul magic.
Ooh.
Potentially, although this is
Good question.
this is a it's not unheard of to be able to store magic in an item. And Edgar, your thoughts immediately drift to usable grenades and things of the like, or usable items. So it is possible to enchant something with a type of magic and not have it be magitech. What makes something magitech is its ability to harmonize spontaneously with the type of magic that's available. And so someone who uses a magitech cannon is in a certain way casting a fire spell or an ice spell or what have you using a weapon, and as long as it's the same type of magic like elementalist magic, it's all it that's kind of the difference. And you get the impression that this compass may not necessarily be magitech, it may be an enchanted item that is not necessarily a piece of technology designed to harness multiple aspects of magic or conjure that magic. And usually objects that are enchanted in this way have one very specific spell or use when they're enchanted, and magitech stuff tends to be a little bit more versatile within its own kind of magic discipline.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
I think
Zinnia is
Lev-
slightly disappointed, slightly relieved.
I think Levine hearing that soul magic is similar to her magic, but not really. But I guess she'll ask Ashara, can I learn soul magic?
No.
Well, I'm sure anybody can learn soul magic, right?
Ashara,
I mean,
Probably
yeah,
shouldn't.
but
Ashara
we're not gonna
says
let her.
there are many, many ways to learn magic. Some do it through researching tomes, as I have. Some do it through experimentation, um, and some stumble upon it naturally or have a natural affinity for it based on their heritage. There are many ways to learn magic, and some of the greatest accidents and the greatest tragedies are from uncontrolled magic that someone wasn't knowledgeable about. So, certainly it is possible, but most of the time it is deliberate. It would be a rare circumstance for someone to have a natural gift for magic and for it to be soul magic. You also um, get the she actually reaches out and touches your arm and says, magic is also very much about the emotions of the user. And so, like myself, I don't use my magic to harm. I've never harmed anyone with my magic. I don't use it for violence. And I get the impression that soul magic would require a certain state of mind, either desperation or true evil.
Yeah, which is why I don't think you should learn it, Levine. I'm not trying to be mean, but it doesn't sound like a great idea.
Levine will nod. Say thank you.
Okay. As you are all exiting the library, Larice kind of appears behind you very quietly out of nowhere and begins to continue following you. Since Blair is in the party now, Larice is not actively talking or leading you, but is nonetheless escorting you and chaperoning you as you walk about the castle.
Is there any place you'd like to go here, Blair? Or a place you think we should visit before we try to visit someplace else in town?
I want to grab some books real quick, and then I'm good. And Blair's gonna probably grab a few books. Sinus, I didn't know if you wanted me to just find them or ask about them. Like, I can tell you what I'm looking for.
Sure. By all means, what are you looking for?
So Blair's looking for a book on Denova's origins and past rulers, a book on Elonian Empire, a book on a world map sort of thing, and maybe item identification. Those 4 things. Because Blair's assuming they're gonna need the books on hand. So
Okay.
they're trying to find as many books as they could take with them.
So, Denovan heritage and history is something that you would have in your room, that you would have kept and been familiar with, as well as a world map or atlas. Given that you are a person who is trying to learn about the world, that's something that you would have already. For
Okay.
for Elonian history and item identification, you would have taken those from the library freely, without question, and Preserver Ashara would have helped you find those and put those on your
Okay.
person.
Sounds good. But other than that, Blair would look to Cassandra and the rest of the party and just be like, I'm good whenever you guys are. If you want to go explore somewhere else, or we can maybe rest here one more day. Whatever you guys want to do.
I guess, yeah, what is the next step, I guess, after we leave? Because we'll want to figure out what's going on with this compass, right? Do we know where we're going with that?
Should we not also investigate that cult? It kind of feels like something maybe we should look into real quick while we're here. Not gonna lie.
That's fair. I just wasn't, I mean, I'm down for that too, blacksmith stuff too. I just wasn't sure if we had an idea of where we would even go for the compass, but...
That's kind of what I was wondering too, is if maybe we can, I don't know, like ask around and see if there isn't any skilled tradesmen that don't work at the castle. That might even be able to point us in the direction of an even more skilled tradesman, or I don't know.
Well, Zinnia
Of
was
what?
also...
What kind of tradesman, though? I mean, it seems
Or,
like
like,
we're
just-
speaking
I
about
feel like-
artifacts here.
Well, I don't really mean like tradesmen, more so like tradesmen as in like not merchant, but more so like they're like they make like a blacksmith as a trade.
Yeah, I know. That's I
That's what I was-
understood in the same
okay.
thing, but I
Okay.
don't think we'll find anybody just in town that deals with ancient artifacts about soul stealing.
Well, that's why I was thinking maybe we could like find something that points us
Edgar,
in the
you're...
direction of where to go. I really
Edgar,
don't know. but-
you're into Magitech, right? And Zinnia was asking about, would you know anybody who knows stuff about this?
I mean, the only person I really knew was Professor Harlan, but he got taken by the Empire.
Oh, so we have to kill the Empire. I mean, stop the Empire. I mean, get him. No killing.
Yeah. And I mean, something to do with
You didn't
what
have
happened.
any other students?
No, it was just us. I mean, he was just alone at his workshop until I started kind of bugging him.
Okay.
But he was never really from around Pemble. He just set up shop one day nearby.
Should we try to ask Larice or Ashara where they think we should go to look into this first, or?
Yeah, we can ask them. I think maybe we could even ask them though after we take care of some other stuff.
Okay.
Like come back
Yeah, I
and
need
discuss it
to-
a little bit more.
Yeah, I guess for Levine too, you guys are talking about the cult, but she is thinking that her armor needs some repairs. Like the shape
We
of
can
it
go
helps.
blacksmith too. That's fine.
Yeah, so she's thinking about that. She wants to get that repaired or see if they can help her with that. It's taking a few hits here and there,
Yeah, I'd just be worried about going around just anywhere and asking just anybody about it.
Mhm.
That's my main concern. I just don't think we should be telling everybody.
Oh no, I was more so thinking if we like asked about like if they knew anybody that was like skilled in magic, and that was like what we would ask.
Oh, all right.
And then like keep it real vague. I do agree with you for sure. Like the less information we spread around about this, the better. That is part of the reason I was wondering if we should look into the the something of radiance,
The Commune of Radiance.
the commune of radiance. It's kind of why I want to look into them because they give me off vibes. And like if we're dealing with this weird soul magic that equals death magic, I kind of wouldn't be surprised if this radiance cult is secretly a death cult in disguise. It would just make sense at this point. Cassandra's just sort of like, because that's kind of like, she's been doubtful of that particular group since the beginning and learning more about the compass and the magic. Now her brain's kind of maybe making connections that aren't really there, but she's definitely is sort of like they're even more suspicious now.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
guess-
maybe they're just there helping people. You don't know.
Maybe,
Maybe.
but if I'm wrong, I will accept that.
But it'd be good to find out.
Exactly.
kind of like tilting their head because they weren't there when all that went down, and they're just like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh yeah, there's a group out there that's like helping people and stuff, and that's probably not good.
Help.
It's,
What?
it's less that they're. It's more that they're a little culty. Cults can be nice at first, and then under the
Levine
surface,
is just
they're
Levine
bad
is just
news.
actually very envious of them, where she's just thinking like he's better, holier than thou by actually being holier than thou people. She hates him. Thinking good thoughts, ugh. She's just brooding over here.
But yeah, but my plan is to visit the Commune of Radiance next. If,
Levine is going to
but
go
if
to
anybody
the.
wants to do something first, I'm willing to defer to that.
I mean, Levine is going to say like I should get my armor checked. You can go by yourselves if you want to. I can go to the blacksmith on my own.
All right. Well, let's figure out what everybody is doing here. So we have Levine is definitely going to the blacksmith, and Cassandra is potentially checking out stuff about the Commune of Radiance. Anyone else?
Blair's probably just gonna follow either Edgar or Zinnia. Just, kind of keep tabs on people, I guess, while reading and trying to be more like an heir.
Well, Edgar is probably just gonna stay with Cassandra. I don't think we should all be split up.
You know what? That's
Yeah.
fair. Levine
Well, we
will
can. That's the thing is, we
begrudgingly
can
drag her
stop
feet.
at the. We can stop at the blacksmith and drop
Yeah.
your armor off, and then go. Like it's
Yeah.
not like we have to.
You don't have to be alone
Oh.
all the time, Levine.
Oh,
I
that's
like having
okay.
you around.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's not for
I mean,
dinner.
you're a little silly sometimes, and you concern me, but like, it's fine.
She's
You're
just
good. You're good
blushing.
company.
Okay.
That makes
So
She's
the
just
lo-
thinking back to the companions who would just shout at her all the time. So
the
Sinus,
yeah
I sent you a secret, mysterious DM.
yeah I saw it. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Wasn't sure. And Zinnia will offer to mend your clothes, Levine.
oh yeah, she has like all these like bandages basically, along with tattered clothes that she was thinking she needs to replace. So
Oh no, I was
Taking
gonna
out-
say you probably would have at least been given like underclothes, like extra underclothes that Cassandra has. Maybe not like the
Oh,
full
yeah.
robe set, but like I probably had extra clothes you could wear. So you're
that would
not
at least
just
fit better
rags.
than Edgar's like shirt. She would just rip immediately.
Okay, so you folks make your way to Shoes and Shields. You don't have too much trouble finding it, though it does take a little while to get there. It's probably mid-afternoon by the time you get there, and you walk in and you meet you see a young woman in a very thick apron and long sleeves, sweating profusely, with heavy goggles on her face and very large thick gloves, hammering away at something on an anvil. It kind of looks like she's currently working on horseshoes at the moment, and she notices you come in and kind of stops hammering for a moment and nods in your direction as if to say, "I'll be right with you." And you wait for another minute or two while she finishes hammering out the shape of the horseshoe and picks it up with a set of tongs and dips it into a barrel of water, and a great amount of steam kind of hisses as it cools down, and she picks it up after having cooled it for just a moment, and drops it into a container full of other horseshoes, and it falls with a clang, 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 and she lifts her goggles up on her head, and you can see a line of soot all around her eyes and going up the bridge of her nose, just outside where her goggles were as she lifts them up. And she's underneath the goggles, just a regular, perhaps unexpectedly young girl to be working in here, maybe in her late teens, especially on her own. It doesn't appear that there's anyone else here, and she hangs her tongs on the rack and takes off her gloves, kind of excited to have an opportunity to take a break from working with the hot metal, and says, "Welcome to Shoes and Shields. What can I make for you?"
Okay, Levine was like sitting in a chair with her like in these thermal pants and thermal shirt, but just holding her armor and her sword in her lap awkwardly, just arms around it. So she just stands up and carries him over to the counter, drops him on there with a plong, and she asks, "Are you familiar with dark armor and repairing it?"
And the apprentice comes and looks at it and says, "What in the six hells is this?" And she's looking over it and kind of marveling at it, and she says, "Oh, I've read about this. Is dark armor." She says, I've never had the privilege of working with a material like this. We have a little bit. I could maybe do a patch job here and there, but I don't know that I could add to it or anything. It's the fire has to be incredibly hot to work with this material. It says it would take me probably the rest of the day, but I think it could get you back to ship shape.
All right, that sounds good. How much would that cost?
He says, "Well, let me take a crack at it first and make sure that I can actually get the repair done. I don't have too much in the way of materials, so if I'm not successful, I'm not gonna charge you. But if I can get her patched up, then the cost of materials is I'll have to look it up, but I think it's in the neighborhood of about 50 zenith for about, I don't know, half a pound of this or so. And if I use all that up, maybe call it 70."
Levine nods and sounds good. I'll be back later in the day.
Says, "All right, can do. Later in the day, you said?"
Yes, we have to go beat up a cult.
You have to what?
We have to investigate a cult. We have to go to a...
Look up a cult.
We have to go... Yeah, we have to go on a picnic.
Going for a walk.
Yeah, a picnic walk.
She kind of looks at all of you
I have to carry
and the
the
mixed
table,
answers and is like, "Yeah, sure." And kind of takes your armor and decides not to pry further and just kind of exit that conversation.
Close one.
Okay. Your armor is dropped off, being repaired. The city is at your disposal.
So yeah, Levine is just standing awkwardly in basically her like long john underwear, just kind of like barely fitting over her, where it's like stretched just a bit.
You get a couple of looks, for sure. Mostly men, couple women, definitely children. The children are mostly giggling.
She waves back.
The men are their glances tend to linger on you a little bit, and most of the women kind of scoff a little bit, but some of them linger too.
Blair
Just
is
waving. Just waving.
feeling a certain way and just kind of puts a hand on their head and looks at Levine and says, "Do you not have another change of clothes?"
She kind of like pulls out her bag with all of her bandages and tattered clothes. Like, it just takes me like 20 minutes now to get dressed, so I figured I should probably get new ones.
Well, we can find some on the way while we're in town if you want.
As long as
Hindsight,
it's in
probably
costume.
should have done that first.
But why though? I have clothes now.
Well, you see,
so
the people here are not accustomed to your display. We should probably find you some clothing.
Edgar has a nosebleed.
is it my muscles? You talk about my muscles?
It's all of this. Blair gestures to all of Levine. Like, doesn't have the words.
I haven't even spilt anything on these yet.
Yeah, that's okay.
See, Edgar's
No
drawing
stains
something in
anywhere yet.
Blair's gonna look to Cassandra like, please help me. Please help me.
We can get clothes. That would be nice. Just nothing too expensive.
Yeah, Cassandra's going to just look at Levine and be like, "Hey, we can quick pop into like that little store over there, and then maybe get you some nice pants and like a nice cool jerkin or something."
Oh,
Okay.
what? Is that?
Jerkin is like a tunic.
Like a small pickle, right?
Oh, I was.
No, it's a
oh.
gherkin. Close.
She kind of like ruffles the very tight neck on her shirt as she's like fanning herself a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then-
oh, okay, just a shirt thing.
Yes, we need to get you covered up before there's some gherkin jerkin here. So you wander over, and you have arrived actually at Rosette's Esoterica. And you walk in, and the shop owner, clearly Rosette, says, "Hey, how are you doing?" And kind of notices Levine and says, "You look like somebody who owes me money. Can we get you some clothes?"
She immediately
Definitely.
tries to reach for her sword that doesn't exist at the moment because it's at the shop. So then she's like kind of like in a half like stagger with her hands down by her
Yeah.
hips. She's just trying to figure out what to grab.
Mhm.
Like she needs a weapon because like she says I owe her money. It's like, oh crap, is she an old partner I had that tried to kill me? What's going on?
Just reach out to Levine and be like, "It's a joke. Relax." Be like, "Yeah, we're looking for a new outfit for our friend here.
And Rosette,
She had a bit of a run-in with her other clothes, and they got too tattered to wear properly.
And
So we're
so-
making do for now.
Would it be
Rosette,
cheaper if you fix these? And she hands you the bag of her
I'm gonna
former
take
outfits.
the bag and just put it in a trash can. Drop
Probably
that.
still, there's probably a few Zenit left in there yet though. Probably Zenit with this stuff.
I'll take the clothing out and put it in a trash can, and then hand you the bag with your money back.
Levine's chest just feels so heavy. He's like, oh, such a waste.
Rosette
Be fine.
walks out from behind the counter and strides over towards the party and kind of looks all of you up and down once as she's walking, and without breaking stride, tosses Levine a very simple sort of kind of like thicker tweed outfit that seems like it's going to be on the cheaper side, and it fits perfectly. She wasted no time, knew exactly what your size was, and knew exactly what your price point was, and handed you the perfect item from her shop. The perfect items from her shop.
Oh, nice. And then she just starts taking off her shirt and pants right there for a half
No.
second. And she's like,
And
oh,
then
wait,
just,
sorry.
Like, shove her into the changing room.
And then she realizes this is probably a changer room.
Rosette says, "Yeah, I don't care that you can step behind anything you want, but maybe pay first. That'll be
So that's
10 zenith."
Levine is like halfway into the changing room. Like, oh, okay. And then she wanders back over.
Thank you.
She's like 10 zen, and she's like really counting her money for a moment, and then she hands you 10 zen.
Reset doesn't count it. She can feel it in her hand that it is correct, and walks away from you. And as she does, back towards her counter, she says, "Is there anything else I can help you with today?"
I'm gonna. So, we're not gonna need any formal outfits while we're here, right, Blair?
Um, define what you mean by that. Like,
If we have to
it-
see your dad again, should we have some formal outfits that we can wear?
Yeah,
when
should I
we
get a cape?
interact? Like,
uh, if you want, there's not a requirement, but preferably clothing on you. Yes. Uh, it's up to you. I don't think there's any specifics here. If you want to look fancy, go for it.
Levine comes back with her change and hands Cassandra her now very stretched out clothes. And she mentioned like Zinnia needs clothes too, right?
Yeah, I was gonna ask if
Probably.
Reset has any reaction to Zinnia being there with clearly, obviously too large clothes.
She was standing underneath the counter, so she couldn't see her.
Yeah, fair.
Reset did notice, but because Zinnia didn't speak up, she was mostly focused on the one that was in a state of undress and general trashiness. And kind of looks at you, and gets you some nicer. They're not silk robes, but definitely better than traditional cotton. It feels pretty nice against the skin of your hands. It looks like it is going to fit you very, very well. And there's she hands that to you, as well as what's Zinnia's favorite color?
Oh gosh, good question. We'll go with gray. So that's
Gray?
what color her cat was?
Okay. As well as a pair of long, about 1 inch thick gray ribbons. And you get the impression that this is normally used for hair, but you're kind of perplexed as to why you were given two, and you suddenly realize that the second ribbon is for your cat.
Oh. She
And
likes the ribbons.
Yep. Reset says
They're,
that'll be 12 zenit. The
apparently
kitten's
Oda's
ribbon is on the
highest robe,
house.
though,
It's
is
just
a
so
magic
cute.
robe. Is the one thing.
Oh, Zinnia has a magic robe that we need to. Needs to be like custom tailored.
She tailored it herself. She did a decent job. Although,
Oh, sorry. So Zinnia's robe is magic?
yeah, I forget what it's called. Like whatever that wizard armor is.
Oh, just your
That makes sense.
Says,
So, yeah.
In that case, and she starts looking through a rack of different kinds of robes, and they're all kind of they're all different colors and different sizes and everything. It's not like it's not a mass-produced thing. This is very much every item is kind of one of a kind. And she finds a robe that will fit you. And what is here? Yeah, let me know what you're wearing right now.
It's called a sage robe.
Shade robe.
I hope I didn't change the name of that. I changed the name of some of the things, I think.
Okay. Let me take a look here. So basic armor. It is a sage robe. Okay. She offers you another robe, which is actually, it is another sage robe, identical properties, and says that since this is more of a size mismatch thing, that she'll do a trade with you for your current robes and 25 zenith. So you'll 25 zenith for something that fits and has the same properties.
Is there any way you can make this one fit me better?
Reset says, nope, everything is as is. I'm no enchanter, I'm just a collector.
Levine is gonna place her hand on Zinnia's shoulder and say, don't worry, I can patch that up for you.
Nia looks at the trash can where the clothes are.
She says, I do know of an enchanter in town that might be able to spruce up your current robe. It probably won't be as cheap, but if you need to, you could go see Jean-Philippe. He does all sorts of enchanting and could probably shrink down your robes a little bit.
Nia says, thank you. That sounds great. How much for the ribbons?
He says, oh, don't worry about it, honey. The kitty cat is so cute. They're for you.
Oh, thank you. And she is obviously delighted as she ties the ribbon around the zither.
Says, ah, yes, here it is. His shop is called the Magi, enchanting shop. MAGE-EYE.
Oh, I got it.
Yep. Can I help any of you any of you with anything else?
Do you want a cape, Edgar?
I mean, if everybody
Oh
else
yeah,
is
like an accessory or something.
Yeah,
Not
we'll
just
get
like a
Edgar
cape?
And she kind of looks at you, like looks you up and down, and says, "A cape? I think you'd look better with an ascot, but we might have something akin to a cape here."
Ascot works too. That's pretty fancy, right?
Ascots are definitely fancy.
All right, I'll take an ascot.
An ascot, wonderful choice.
I'll get a lot less things than.
And a little bit less expensive. Most of my capes are enchanted. It's very much a cape is very much one of those types of things that you encounter in the wild that tend to make you float or fly very expensive. But an ascot, we can make you look good for much cheaper. Says I have let's see. I've got something that would bring out the green in your eyes nicely, I think. And she pulls one off of the rack and actually ties it up nicely around you and kind of positions you in front of a mirror. And damned if you don't look handsome in that ascot. And she says, it's only about 8 zenith.
Wow, I've got a nice ascot.
You do with that?
Yeah.
Levine is interested in this whole flying thing, by the way, but...
And she says, I don't know if I have anything that could make you fly, but she pulls out a a cape from behind the counter that is folded up. It kind of looks like a folded blanket or towel, but whenever she fully unfolds it, you can see that there is actually a clasp on the top side of it that's designed to fasten around the chest in a certain way. And she says, watch this. And she kind of throws the cape, and you see that the cape, instead of falling, kind of almost makes a very leisurely boomerang kind of loop around her shop and back to her hands without really losing any altitude. And she grabs a hold of it, and it kind of goes limp, and it falls back down, kind of back under its own gravity, and she folds it back up, and she says, yours for the very reasonable price of 3,000 zenith.
Levine, as she saw the thing fly in the room, immediately pulled out her zenith purse and was just like counting it up. And then as she hears that, she's like, a couple thousand off. She just closes that up and just puts it away.
Is there no way you can do a discount for royalty? Waggles eyebrows.
Make a willpower and just double willpower roll.
Okay.
Can I help her? Give it
I have a
back in here.
14.
Hang on a second. Where are they at? Okay, 14 you said?
Yeah, I had 2 sevens.
And royalty you say,
Oh, that's a
and
That's a critical
3,700
success roll.
zenith.
What was that?
Royalty you said, then 3,700 zenith.
Oh, that backfired. Blair just kind of scratches at her cheek and just looks over at Levine. I'm sorry, I tried.
Levine puts on her iron bark plate that she had hanging around because now she feels naked without her armor and sad about that. So she's just putting on this iron bark plate for now. Taking out the ancient tree limb, and she's just got that. I was like, don't worry, I'm good now.
Anything else I can help you folks with today? Maybe on our bargain rack?
Oh, I like that. Levine goes straight over there.
Is there like flies flying around it or something?
It's just Levine's old clothes.
Oh, it's just a trash can. No.
And yeah, you go over, and it is in fact it's like a laundry hamper just full of mismatched stuff, and it says bargain rack in quotes on there.
I mean, at least
Levine is, like, grabbing-
Bin.
Levine is actually grabbing multiple things. Like, how much for each of these? And she's like kind of getting a pile ready.
Okay.
I mean, it does seem like you need more clothes than most people because they apparently shred apart under your armor.
So, to the rest of you, this quote bargain rack is very much like just basically a trash can type kind of thing. And you get the sense that Reset is actually carrying Levine's old clothes over towards it, and she looks at you and says, from the bargain rack, for you, 2 zenith per piece.
Just
Levine's
gonna walk
And
away.
narrow your eyes at her.
Levine's nodding and thinking about it for a second. And then she's like, hey, Blair, can you help me embezzle this out of here?
Blair's just like pausing, like, what? What?
Edgar leaves.
Then he just says, don't he mean
Levine
smuggle?
starts to feel like she might be in danger. She just throws him and just walks out. Throws him back in the pile.
I think you got a fine set of clothing. Let's just go.
Levine just walking out, like pushing the door open with her big old tree as she's like just kind of scooching her way out as fast as she can now because she's alert of the guards.
All right. As you exit, Reset says, "Fools and their money are easily parted. Capitalism, ho!"
And then...
Blair makes makes note of this for when they become ruler about this behavior. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty standard affair that everybody increases their prices when it comes to government.
That's actually fair.
That is true though.
Yeah.
Alright, I guess next is, are we going to the enchanted stuff or the enchanter for Zinnia or Cult of
Yeah.
Radiance?
We need to get
I mean,
Zinnia their clothes, or her clothes proper. Everybody should feel comfortable before we kind of infiltrate a cult.
Okay. You make
At least
your
that's my opinion.
you make your way. It's not too far away. You make your way to the Magi shop, and you walk in, and it's a very colorful. Everything is very luxurious silks. It almost looks like a fortune teller's type kind of shop. And you get in there, and they're dressed in very fine robes that you imagine to be as soft as any bed you've ever slept in these brilliant, flamboyant purples and blues. Is who you can only assume is Jean Philippe, and he says, welcome, come in. What can I get for you? What can I do for you?
Levine is gonna say, we need to get better robes for our kid.
He says,
We are all the
speak no
parents,
more,
I
Zeus.
think.
And
Wait,
he,
Edgar, are you old? I
Like-
mean, we are all the parents.
I feel like how old is Edgar?
You know what?
Levine has to commit to this lie now. so-
I don't think I ever actually landed on something somewhere between 16 and 18.
Yeah. Okay. So you could technically be one of the children then, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, Cassandra and I are the parents, and these are our 3 children. We need clothes for Zinnia.
I feel like
Wow.
16 is probably an adult in like a fantasy setting.
Right?
You're
I mean,
small
Blair
enough to
isn't-
pass as a child.
Blair
Teenagers.
isn't our kid. Blair is a princess, and you should treat
Yeah,
her with respect.
Blair's
But
definitely
at
not
the
our
end,
child.
it's totally
Blair?
the story. I'm sticking to it.
It's just like, what is happening right now?
Edgar Mouse.
Levine has a horrible poker face.
and
Well, it's not her poker face; it's her poker hand that she's holding backwards.
and
Uh-oh.
Jean Philippe says, "Come. Let me take a look at you." And looks over Zinnia real quick, and snaps his fingers and raises his hand into the air, and suddenly Zinnia's robes fit perfectly, and the ribbons become neatly tied in her hair, and it's like an instant makeover. Like it just, all of it kind of moves around and seems very, very put together and perfectly tailored and fitting. He says, yes, I think this will do. What do you
Zinnia
think?
spins around and then jumps and claps her hands.
Ah, yes, anything to make the children smile. The first one is on the house. This is a very easy thing for me to accomplish. Any other types enchantments I can do for you? It's so good to see the children happy.
Levine is gonna give Zinnia a thumbs up, by the way. Levine does actually want to ask, do you have a cape that can make me fly?
That reset took my last cape of flotation. Basically stole it from me.
Sounds like something she would do.
How did you let this happen? Says Blair.
So let's see. Maybe lost money in a bit of gambling. It's how the cards fall sometimes, you know?
Blair
She
just-
won it in a bet.
Yeah, Blair's just shaking her head like, oh. What's
Says,
wrong with my people?
This is business,
Bean
you
shakes
know.
her
This
fist like,
is
"Yeah."
business. Sometimes you lose the cape off your back, and sometimes the person who took your cape sends
Hey.
you new customers.
She
It was
she
an
took the
investment.
cape you were wearing?
This is a beautiful cape. This is the blue one, right? Sky blue, beautiful. Yes, that's my cape. Did you bring it? I buy it back from you.
Sadly,
I
it's
pay
very
you
expensive.
double what I paid for it. 2,000 zenit.
She asked for 3,700 for the royalty.
Ah,
Bean is practicing
Thoricet has such a
shadowboxing,
sense of humor.
Imagining punching that person, but also imagining how well her arms move, and she doesn't tear the armpits like in Cassandra's clothes. So she's like getting really used to this stuff she's wearing that she can move in. As she thinks about punching that person.
Kind
Right, sounds
sir.
like a tie-in for playing Hanabi very soon.
Do you have any?
We'll win it in a game of Hanabi. Perfect.
But that's cooperative. It doesn't...
Cassandra and I
Uh,
will do it together. The two smartest.
No idea what that thing even is, but whatever. I'll try, I guess.
I'm sorry, I missed that. What?
Oh, they're talking about that game, and Jason said that we could try it together, and I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I guess.
Yeah, Levine and
Yeah.
Cassandra, the two smartest, two with the two highest insights, will face
I
off.
just
forget
realized
the
what you were
person's
saying.
name.
Yeah,
The two smartest, will cooperatively
We're
face
so
off
smart.
against that person.
definitely
we're
the
good.
smartest out of everybody with our D6s.
I'll totally put all my dark armor on the line. We totally won't lose that. Yeah, maybe that's for next episode.
Does
Anyways,
this shopkeep have anything that looks like it would replenish MP or something?
He kind of raises an eyebrow at you when you call him kind sir. And he looks you over, and he knows his customer when he sees it. He says, "I don't have any items that replenish magical essence, but I could conjure a spell that could maybe refill your magical energy, maybe even a surplus. And maybe you do old Jean-Philippe a little favor next time, yeah?
What kind of favor?
Who knows, whatever I need. Maybe you keep the cape on my back. Maybe dinner at the castle. Maybe rescue me from the pit of a kraken. I don't know. Could be anything."
Blair's gonna look to their party mates to kind of see if they agree to this sort of conditions, because Blair wouldn't do this on their own.
And
Sounds like-
he kind of he notices that you're looking towards your party members, and he actually kind of reaches out and gently directs your chin back towards his gaze. He says,
Oh.
I'm going to slap his hand.
No.
Levine is
It's-
going to get her.
This is between
ready.
you and me. What we can do for each other.
Levine is going to cast Protect and get directly in between them, and she's going to put her chin in the way.
Oh.
He says,
That
"Ooh,
sounds so
Nasty.
funny.
this is very,
That sounds so
this is very
funny.
strong, muscly guardian. Maybe you can save me."
Blair's
I
kind of
wasn't-
sweating now.
I wasn't even listening to what you were saying, but I think I need to kill you.
This... Oh, nonsense. There's no need for killing. This world needs more love in it, yeah? Do come back soon, and if you have nothing else you need, if nothing else, this was entertaining endeavor. Bring money next time.
Sounds good. Thank you,
Yeah,
Jean-Philippe.
Levine is just
Yeah.
going to walk backwards, just holding that stare with him. As she's walking backwards towards the door.
That dude's just gonna think you're flirting with him if you hold his gaze.
And as you walk back, he holds your gaze and then gives you a little wink.
Sick.
She is imagining him as such a crate right now.
Oh god.
Nice callback. Can I make an insight roll to find out if he's going to ask us some immoral favor? Or if he's the kind of person that would do that?
I'm sorry, an insight check to see what?
I'm curious if he's the kind of person that would ask us to do an immoral favor for him.
Yeah, go ahead, roll double insight.
Alright. I don't know where I put my dice now. They're still in my bag. Let's go to random.org.
Need 2 d10s.
I rolled a 2 and a 2.
Actually, yeah, Levine should try to roll insight to see if she realizes he's flirting with her too.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I got a 9. Nice.
Okay. So, Zinnia? No idea. You have no idea whether this guy's whole act is a facade or real. Levine? Let's see. What were you insight checking specifically?
To see if I realize he's flirting with me, because it feels like Levine with that wink is like he's winking at her like, yeah, you're next, you're gonna die, is what she's initially thinking.
Okay. So
A wink doom.
you get the impression that the wink is friendly. You don't know if it's true flirtation or if it's just business or front. But it is friendly.
Okay. So she's not gonna do the whole cutthroat thing, but instead she'll do the 2 like fingers to the eyes, like I'm watching you.
Says yes, and you keep your eyes right here on old Jean-Philippe. He keep his eyes out for
Oh
you.
yeah,
God.
I'm keeping my eyes on you.
And he doesn't break eye contact. He does not blink.
I have the eyes like a hawk. And then I walk backwards out the door. I trip over a pot.
Edgar will lean to Cassandra. Does Levine have a crush on my guy?
I'm sorry, what was that for Edgar?
I mean,
Oh, he said he leaned in and
to
said,
her at the very least.
"Does Levine have a crush on that guy?" Keep staring at him.
Cassandra will lean back in and kind of whisper, he seems to be into her at the very least. Who knows? Maybe.
Levine is staring at a window outside at him in between you two.
Staring.
Just eyes like daggers on him.
Edgar and I are gossiping about this flirtation.
Edgar writes in his notebook, like L plus JP and a heart.
Okay. Are we still
it's
messing
Levine.
with Jean-Philippe, or are you guys moving
Yeah,
on?
Levine's
need to
outside
move
just
on.
waiting for everyone. Yeah.
Blair has decided not to consult with storekeepers anymore, just gonna ask somebody at the kingdom to do it because they're uncomfortable from having their face touched. They're like, no.
Yeah, storekeepers around here don't seem the most trustworthy.
Not to mention, Blair's kind of confused how he was just like, yeah, I'll help this kid out, but then touched my face. Like, what is this? But yeah, Blair's leaving. Like,
Oh, did
I'm...
Zinnia get their cloak? Do we have to come
Their robe,
The robe?
yes, free of charge, and a
Okay,
little
good.
mini makeover.
Oh my god.
Zinnia makes sure to stop the eyes of daggers the moment Zinnia comes out, gives her a thumbs up, but then stares back at him as we're about to leave. All right, yeah, now it's for the Cult of Radiance, right?
commune of
Let's see.
radiance.
It's probably evening now. You get the impression that if you wanted to go back and check on your armor, you could.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. See how that's doing. Should check out my armor, make sure that's ready.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm actually gonna let you roll for. Well, yeah, no, I should roll. It's an NPC. I'm gonna roll. Probably that. Okay. You get back, and the person at the forge says, "Hey, welcome back. I've got your armor here for you. It went okay. I got it fixed up for you. It was a little touch and go there. It was really difficult to work with, and God, was it hot. I couldn't really get much of anything else done today, but I managed it. You're all set, patched up, ready to go."
Thank you. And Zinnia is, or not Zinnia, Levine is going to hand over the 50 zenith that we had agreed upon.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, stop
She's-
back
she's now
anytime.
gonna Switch out of her iron bark armor, and I'll put back on her regular armor, just right there.
And
All right, we're good to go.
yep, the person kind of looks you over and sort of tightens it up for you and helps you get into it in kind of quicker fashion than you're used to. It's nice having somebody who's well versed in this stuff. And kind of
thanks.
looks you over, looks you up and down, and kind of nods in approval and says, "Yeah, sorry, the owner wasn't in today. I mean, I did the best with what I got, but you know, if you're looking for more specialty work, he's out on a he's making the rounds lately, looking to buy up some more ore. I'm gonna have to tell him to get some more of the dark metal. He's never gonna believe that we finally use that up, but I bet he would love to work on something like that."
Levine's nodding. All right, I'll take that under consideration. Also, she's going to make an insight check to see if this person's flirting with her. She got an 8.
An insight check to see if this person is what?
Flirting with her.
Not flirting with you at all. You are not her type.
Okay, she was a little worried there, you know. But yeah, she said, thanks. I normally do this by myself. It always takes so long.
Yep. Bye now.
And then Levine is like sad, like she's leaving a friend forever. She's like, bye. But
Okay.
yeah, she's done there. So.
The sun is beginning to get low over the horizon. It's approaching evening. What would you like to do?
We should check with this call, right? Make sure nothing insidious is going on in this city.
I mean, we definitely don't want that. But it's tough because we don't really know if they're doing anything bad. You guys are just making some nasty assumptions.
Levine is nodding because she knows she is definitely making assumptions. And she's being petty.
You can always ask around.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we can see if anybody's had any dealings with them.
Get some dinner. We've kind of been walking around, just kind of maybe sit at a table and get some gossip.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, from like a waiter or something, yeah.
Yeah, or just overhear conversations too, or even just literally talk to locals.
Try to find a cafe maybe that's located nearby the
Can't be that
Residents-
suspicious to have like
residents.
tourists be like, "Hey, what's up with this commune of radiance thing I keep hearing
I
about?"
mean, when we look at the Radiance residents, my bad.
Okay. Would you like to go back to the Hope's Abandoned Bar, or are you heading somewhere else?
We know of any cafes near the Radiance residence commune thing.
You are given to understand that there are definitely cafes specializing in different types of food, some of them more strictly in beverages, whether they be the type to get you drunk or the ones to help you stay awake. You also know that within the commune there are more like hostel type kinds of places where you could find lodging and get a meal as well.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Go undercover.
Well, that's because that's what we're questioning, though. Do we want to go in there and stay right away and like stay the night immediately, or do we want to get some information and then go in the morning? Because I don't mind going right away personally. And just
Levine,
introducing ourselves if everyone's comfortable with that. But if we want to gather intel, I'm also cool with that decision.
logically, going straight in probably isn't a great idea, but Levine would want to go right in right away.
That's
Less
yeah.
thinking, more doing.
Blair's
think-
on the
Oh.
side of just getting information and would probably just suggest, like, why don't we just get something to eat and see what we hear?
Levine would also defer more to Blair's wisdom on that too.
I agree.
Okay. Well, you have your choice of venue.
We'll go to the bar, I guess, and ask around there more. One that you were just talking about.
The
Hopes something.
Hope's Abandon. Yep. Where you guys first landed, your first night there. You head back, and Tavern Keep Jordana is there again, washing down tables. Gives you kind of a sidelong glance, but money's money, so she says sit anywhere you like, and brings you food and drink throughout the night, and the various patrons are coming and going from all over the place. You see some that very obviously work at the wharf. Some of them are guards in the city. Some of them are laborers and workers. Some of them you even occasionally see a troubadour or two that shouts, trying to convince people to come over to the commune of Radiance. So, what kind of people are you looking for, and what do you want to ask them about?
Would probably try to pay attention to somebody that. What would you call them?
A troubadour.
Troubadour. I think Levine would actually try to watch out for anybody the troubadour was talking to and try to get information from one of them. Somebody that looks like they might be willing to talk with Levine. Probably somebody more gruff, hard around the edges. Somebody that Levine could probably handle talking to easier than anybody who's shy or skittish because she's scary. So.
Okay. Well, the troubadours are pretty unabashed about spreading the word about the commune of Radiance, and they back off whenever they know people are not interested, but they make an effort with everyone. Most people are one of two ways. They're either very polite and listen to the troubadours and nod their heads and kind of graciously and try to exit the conversation without offending anyone. And then you have a lot of other people that kind of hold them up and brush them off immediately, having kind of recognized them, and say, I'm sorry, I'm not interested, you're barking up the wrong tree. But you do notice one gentleman in particular who appears to be a sailor from the wharf, who the troubadours come up to, and before they even start their sentence says, why don't you all fuck right off? Okay, I can't do it today. I'm not your guy. Get out of my face.
Levine is gonna just down that bilge water and get ready to start a conversation with wherever that guy's going to sit, hopefully. catch him on yeah.
Okay. He looks at you approaching and says, "And what do you want?"
Bilge water mostly. How about you?
Can't get enough of it. Why don't you sit down and pour me a glass?
She pours him the dirtiest glass of bilge water imaginable.
And then
she
he kind of
downs
knocks
the rest from
his
the pitcher
stein.
that
He knocks his stein against the table and looks at you, kind of toasts you, and says, "Down the hatch," and just gulps it down. This man is a power drinker.
Levine is drinking from the pitcher.
This is, all right. So you can drink. What do you want?
How long has that cult been bothering you? Bothering people around here?
Cult? What are you talking about, cult?
I mean the commune. My bad.
I thought you were talking about like a horse. Like, there's no horse in this bar, at least not yet. The commune. Gosh. They moved in a couple of years ago, I guess, and they've been growing and kind of taking over the city. And man, I wish they'd just kind of mind their own goddamn business, you know?
Seems a little scary if how many people are going to be left by the time they're done with what they want.
Not me, I can tell you that much. There ain't no way I'm joining no commune.
Is there anything you're scared about from going in there? Or are you just...
Scared? You looking to fight? I ain't scared of
I know,
nothing.
yeah.
You just say you were.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking to fight, but not with you right now, no offense.
Alright then. Well, I ain't looking for a fight either. I don't think any of them are looking for a fight either. Most of them just these thin, raggedy folks, people who can't take care of themselves. Now me, I'm a man's man, okay? And a man who works and is able to provide for himself. Okay? That kind of nonsense is beneath me. Taking handouts and the like.
She cheers her glass to him and just downs that.
And he says, "Hey, Jordana, another bilge water for me and my acquaintance over here." And Jordana arrives with no longer steins, but two fair-sized, like, actual pitchers. Like, both of these easily contain, the likes of 4 normal glasses worth of beverage.
He's gonna get drunk at this rate. Trying to think of because he obviously isn't worried about the fight aspect of it, but is there any magical stuff there? I'm trying to think of how he would even notice that. I know what to ask. Okay. You ever know anybody who's entered that commune before?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of them. Well, they come down to the wharf an awful lot, you see, and some of them work on the docks or used to work on the docks. See, and they got a couple of boats that they sail out of the wharf. They go. They say they're going fishing all the time, and the thing is, I never seen them bring back no fish, see? But they're out there, and sometimes I see them rowing on out there, and I could swear it's a little far off the dock, but it looked like they were headed to that island out there, the what do they call it? Some sort of haven thing.
Haven for the commune itself.
he says, nah, the commune's here is based in the city. But them sailors that gone and joined the commune, see, they got these ships and they're supposed to be out there fishing or whatnot, bringing back food for the commune. But you see, the fish are all down in the bay, and these fellas, they're sailing towards what's it? The ancient haven, they call it. That little island out to the east there.
I'm gonna pull up this map too.
And you do have a world map next
yeah.
to your play sheet.
I'll try. It's in the. Nice. So okay, so it's like. Okay. So I guess at this point, Levied is going to down that entire. What'd you call that?
Bilge water.
Yeah, just down that entire bilge water, whatever, and she's gonna say, "Cheers, thanks for having me."
Says cheers, and he tries to keep pace with you, and he seems no worse for wear. Bilge water does not tank this gentleman.
I was gonna say, should I make some kind of willpower and some kind of willpower might check or something like that to not be too drunk?
You can do, yeah, willpower might.
I figure that should still be a thing.
You've consumed a good deal of alcohol, so you've got a difficulty class of about 13.
Oh boy. Well, I managed to get 8.
8? Okay.
Yeah.
You're drunk, but you're not sloppy yet.
So yeah, she's gonna come on over, a bit overbuzzed, and she's gonna tell the guys like, and with a kind of like a bit of booze on her breath, we got a haven to check out probably. And she's gonna try to like repeat what she was saying. It's like, okay, so there's this haven, right? And there's these guys that went there that go to the haven. I don't think it's for the commune, but the people from the commune go to the haven, and the people from the commune, they're really skinny, and they might be magical, they might be wizards, there might be some warlocks, and there's some witches, some witchcraft, but yeah, we got to go to the ancient haven where the sailor communers go, and we do that.
You make out about half the words, and thankfully most of them are repeated that you can kind of tell what Levine is saying.
Yeah, Blair's just kind of staring, like, what?
Mouth's dry, and she just grabs any water that's on the table and starts drinking.
That's so
I
funny.
need some coffee. Ugh.
You can see if there's coffee. I'll call over Jordana. That's her
Yeah.
name.
Jordana
order.
comes over and
Can we get a pot of coffee and a pot of tea?
coffee and tea. Just when I thought this place had no class.
Sugar, don't forget the sugar cubes. Just a whole bowl.
Oh, you're done. The rest of them can decide what to put in your drink. And she saunters off and brings back a pot of coffee and just kind of sets it on the table. The table has this this kind of like rubber mat in the middle of it where they can set down hot drinks or anything else, and sets down the pot of coffee and has brought Cassandra and anyone else who wanted it an individual mug of tea.
Yeah, Cassandra's. I'm not. Levine starts guzzling that stuff. But in between like her sips and stuff, she is going to mention we should talk to Wharf Supervisor Annalise. She might know more about that haven and the people going there.
Blair is gonna accept the tea and just sort of sip and nod, though not really knowing any of who this person is.
I mean, if that's our next lead to find out more information, that's not a bad idea.
The Wharf Supervisor Annalise was the person that we were talking when we first got here, right? I made note of that. Just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And Levine's just chewing on sugar cubes, drinking coffee, drinking tea, and drinking water, all like interchangeably, just taking turns on each.
Only get 3 sugar cubes.
She's then gonna reach into like her pouch of sugar cubes that she has acquired from
Why did you
previous
ask?
cafes. That you never know when you run out, and she's like chewing on some of them.
Oh my
Just-
god.
You just never know when you're gonna run out. She's just,
Blair has never seen anybody like this and is just
How?
like so shocked.
How,
Raheem is
how
a
do you
fascinating person.
eat this, yet keep that figure that you had before? He goes back in his book and checks the picture, the drawings he made of her earlier.
no, I need to eat this much in order to keep this figure.
Yeah, you were at
It
sugar.
burns, it burns so many calories.
Is there any other information or people you might want to talk to or gather?
I think Annalise or any of the would be one of the things to ask. Oh, I guess who these sailors were too. I should ask more specifically for their names if I was thinking.
Have we ever asked Jordana about the commune of radiance? I keep accidentally calling it the cult of radiance. The commune of radiance. She has like a barkeep. So I feel like she'd hear a lot of rumors.
I don't think you folks have actually engaged Jordana in conversation outside of what kind of drinks people drink there, type kind of thing.
Okay.
The sailor that Levine has talked to has stumbled his ass out. He's gone. And he left without you getting his name, type kind of thing. You do look around for Wharf Master Annalise, but she is not at the Hope's Abandoned Bar tonight.
Okay, well, I'll go ask Jordana if she knows anything about the commune of radiance. And if any of her customers have said anything, because you can kind of like, because I heard that you can stay there and like get food, room and board, but like how does
Ask him
it work?
Ask him what that sailor's name was, just in case.
Okay, and I'll address that at the end.
Okay. She says, what, the big guy drinking the fivers? Oh man, his name, I think that was Marco. That was Marco. He sails out of the wharf sometimes on just on pretty much whatever ship he can get work on. Sometimes he fishes, sometimes he, does guard work on a transport, whatever he can get. As for the commune of radiance, I know a little bit. I mean, mostly what most people know. But sometimes people get the bilge water in them, or they get the liquor in them, and they let some stuff slip. What do you want to know?
Is there a reason? Do you know what inspired its creation, perhaps, or like when it started cropping up? Like,
And well, it was a couple years ago now that it actually it's been around, I think, for several decades now. But really it only started to grow and become serious when Alonia started expanding and folks started getting more and more desperate around here and started seeing more and more need. And when other places were failing, the commune took in and provided for people. And it's really attractive whenever you're alone in the rain with no food. That's what you do. Is it's hard to reach your hand out and ask for help. And here's a group of people going around actively recruiting, like trying to bring in people like that. And it makes it easier to say yes when you don't have to ask for help, I think. And that's why it's been growing, is a lot of folk in need, and it's a lot easier to say yes to help than to ask for it, you know?
That makes perfect sense.
Wait, they might actually be good?
Taking an offered hand is easier than asking for one.
They're not evil? Levine just kind of like really brewing in her own
Or
brain
they
there
could be
for a
preying
moment.
on the desperate and needy in order to...
Yeah, that's gotta be it.
I
She
mean, I'm
says-
not saying that's what... I'm just saying that is one way you can interpret it.
He says, evil? Well, it's the furthest thing from their public face that you would think, anyway. Yeah, it seems to be the kind of place that's really accepting of everyone. Occasionally you find a couple of folk that didn't really fit in, you know? And I've had a couple come through the bar here or there, ex-members of the commune, but you have to work really hard to get kicked out of there, and most people are so grateful for a roof over their head and their food that they change their attitude in a hurry.
Do you
Security
happen to have...
like
names
that
of
is hard to come by sometimes. Hard to let go of.
Do you have the names of some of those people?
Says, can't remember any names, but she looks around the bar and she points out a young woman across the bar, and she's drinking by herself. She has a lot of different tattoos, and her hair is completely shaved on one side, and on the other side it's tied into a ponytail, very alternative looking. This person stands out like a sore thumb, like, I'm not gonna fit in with anything that anyone says, I'm not conforming to anything, and just looks very, very traveled, very having been in the world, and a little bit wearied by it.
Does it have that haircut?
What's that?
Levine is gonna be like, wow,
I
that
used to
person's
have
cool.
that haircut.
Mhm.
Way back in the day, so it's funny to me. But I definitely will approach her. And just
She
kinda,
kinda
like,
looks
ask
up.
if I could sit down
Uh,
and ask her a couple questions.
she kind of looks up at you and tries to take a little bit of a read on you, and without saying anything, just kind of nods at you to sit down.
So I hope this isn't rude, but the Jordana over there told me that you had a bad experience with that commune of Radiance. And I was wondering if you could talk to me about it.
Bad experience? I'm not so sure. Definitely a difference of opinion, though.
Okay. Would you still like to talk to me about it? No, by the
Says,
way, my name's Cassandra. What's yours? My apologies.
Cassandra, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my name's Anna. And I don't know. I got quite a bar tab here. Maybe you can help me out with that a little bit, and I can tell you what you want to know.
I will give you 5 zenith to answer my questions.
She says, then I don't think we have anything else to talk about here.
Chill, and then I just walk away.
Okay.
I'm not gonna bribe this lady to tell me things.
Okey doke.
Can pay her own tab.
Alright.
Mostly because I feel like any information we might get from her, we can also find out if we just go to the commune, and it just feels like a waste of money. So, if anybody else wants to pay her tab and talk to her, though, you're more than welcome to. I'll go over and tell the group that she wants someone to buy her alcohol in order to
We
get
should
her
have-
questions answered. You get questions
We should-
answered.
We should have Zinnia's cat, Zither, talk to her cat to get information.
Did that lady have a cat?
Anna? No, no cat. At least not at the
Yeah.
bar with her.
Levine is a bit drunk, so she didn't really think that far ahead.
We should buy her a cat, and then
Then
Yeah,
have the
it's a
cat
good
spy on
idea.
her for a while, and
my
then
gosh.
get the intel.
I mean, we could just join the commune.
That's what I was saying. We could just
Yeah.
go, because like
we could ask Jordana how much the bar tab is,
we should pay before we leave. Yes. Oh, her
I
bar
meant
tab. That's true.
and bar tab.
Well,
Maybe
she
it's
wouldn't
like
take
6
5
Senate.
Maybe. It's true. We should ask. I'll
Yeah, I
approach.
guess.
We can approach Jordana again then.
Okay.
Like, how much is that lady's tab?
She says, well, it's the better part of 100 zenit, but I'd call it paid
No.
I'd call it paid at 50 if I got it all at once.
Oh, she's been dining and dashing.
No. That lady does not have. I genuinely. Because I only have 115 zenith, that's like half of my money. We know that Levine spent a bunch of her money to get her armor.
To be fair, she has
repaired.
100 from something. I don't know what, but I have 100.
I think
right
because
now.
you won something before during the Christmas thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
Merry
because like
Christmas to
Edgar
me.
got first place.
I mean, we could.
Oh
pay,
yeah, and I got second or something like that.
If you want, we could pay her a bill to get more information. I just don't.
I mean, I don't mind it, but like it is quite a bit of money, so that's
I
why I'm
don't-
wondering if it would be.
I don't think we
Each of us
should
can pay
promote
10.
this kind of alcohol
Behavior.
drinking.
I agree.
Are you judging me? Levine
No,
asked
good.
with her head kind of slumped over.
Did you pay for your own bill?
Probably. Did I pay for my own bill?
Then I'm
I
not
think
judging you.
that dude did buy you some, but I mean, they got paid, I assume.
She's like
Alright,
trying
take
to
it
look
back
for
then.
her purse too, you know, and her bag of stuff.
But yeah, that's kind of my also my reasoning behind it too. Like, I don't want to give this lady, I don't want to pay her tab if it's like that high. She's been obviously taking advantage of this woman for a long time. She does not need help doing so.
Meaning I have an idea.
You have an idea?
Yeah. So I have the unexpected ally ability, and I can spend 1 Fabula point to choose a non-hostile creature to become
Oh.
friendly, helpful towards me, as long as I'm kind and respectful, which Zinnia is. So Zinnia will use that ability and walk up to her and ask her about like whether she should join the commune or not. And hopefully
Smart.
that
Yes.
person will I gotta talk this kid out of this. Can you tell me about the commune? Is it a good commune for kids?
You're just leaving because I'm a drunk all
Okay.
the time. Oh,
Which class is that ability a part of? I need to look it up.
Orator?
Let's see here. Okay. So mark off a Fabula point for yourself. And Anna is now your unexpected ally. Ask what you will.
I can't edit my sheet in this GM sheet.
Oh, that's fine. I will mark that.
Tell the WotC lawyer that I totally said GM. Yeah, so Zinnia's gonna play it innocent. She's being a little tricky, but just saying nicely, like, "Can you tell me about the commune? Were there other kids there? Is it a good place for children like me?"
He says, yeah, there are definitely other kids there. I don't really know if it's a good place for kids. I got this weird vibe from the place, you know, and I didn't really feel safe there. I don't know what it is. It could have been nothing, right? It could have just been me being a little bit paranoid and a little bit untrusting, but there's something off. Something off. Something just seemed wrong. It's too good to be true, right? Nobody's that nice. Nobody does that kind of good without something else going on, you know? And it looks like she's gonna say something else, and then she stops.
Ooh. It looks like something's bothering you.
Says, yeah, I mean, that woman came over and can you believe she only offered 5 zenith on my bar tab? Like, can you, like, see, that's what I'm talking about, is people, they don't do nice stuff for nothing, right? I don't know, just a little, I don't know, just a little worked up over that whole, I don't know, just been wronged a lot of times in my life, and I've learned to trust my gut. It doesn't, usually when it feels wrong, it is wrong for me.
Zinnia's gonna give her a hug.
Okay. She stiffens at the hug, but kind of like, you know, realizes that you're a child and have the appearance of a child, and relaxes a little bit, and then actually embraces you and starts to feel a little bit safe. And she says, thanks, I didn't know I needed that.
You're welcome.
She says,
Now I feel bad asking her for more information.
Should I have tried that with a sailor?
She says, if you have to go, if you have nowhere else to go, then go, but watch your back, take a friend, something. It doesn't feel right. I don't know, most of the people there are good. Most of the people in need are good. It's that faith speaker Margulis guy. He just seems, he's so adamant about and so zealous almost about his faith and being saved and growing the commune. It seems like he has an agenda. And you know, sometimes I've seen, when I went to talk to him one time, I swear I saw these 2 or 3 younger girls, these teenage girls, leaving his office, and they seemed, I don't know, they seemed really excited, like they were, I think they said they were chosen for something or something like that, and it seemed wrong, it seemed fake, it seemed like there was something underneath.
That sounds really spooky.
Like, yeah, really spooky. I mean, I felt safe in my bed at night, but I didn't feel safe around that guy. He just seemed, you ever meet a guy that's just too confident for his own good? Like he's just it feels like it feels like he's trying to talk to you on this really personal level, and you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're waiting for him to ask something of you, like he's trying to get under your skin, like he's trying to get you to owe him something. That's what I feel like around Faith Speaker Margulis.
Like Jean-Philippe.
Jean-Philippe? I don't know any Jean-Philippe.
Oh, he was asking us to owe him a favor. Seems really scary. It sounds like that.
I don't know anything about a Jean-Philippe.
It's okay. I just mean I met someone like that. That made me feel icky.
Well, you stay away from those people, okay?
Can I ask one more question? What were you going to speak to the faith speaker about?
She says, well, the faith speaker likes to talk to everyone when they enter the commune at some point after they move in for a while. He says he likes to get to know he says in order to be a good shepherd, he has to know his herd. And he, to be fair, I guess it's not really free food and free shelter. Like, everybody there kind of helps out and does a job and everything. But, after you get settled and and you're starting to feel comfortable, he calls you in and he talks to you and he asks you what kind of skills you have and what, that the commune works really hard to make sure everyone's accepted and everybody has enough food and a place to live, and asks, what you can do to be to make the commune better, what kind of skills you have. And it just, I don't know, it felt kind of wrong. It felt like he was going to ask me to do something I didn't want to do.
Yeah, thank you. I don't think we should go there.
Okay. Well, I better get going, but you be careful, okay? And she kind of pats you on the head and starts to walk out and kind of gives Cassandra the stink eye on the way out.
We'll fully give it back.
I'm gonna give Cassandra assistance.
I truly died laughing when you started talking shit about me.
And I'm
It
doing
was
my
so
job.
funny. It was so funny.
I honestly thought when Blair walked into the library that she was going to take it a different way and be like, I ain't never seen this place in my life. Anyway.
Alright, so Zinnia's gonna, after Anna leaves, Zinnia will tell everyone word for word everything he just said. She just said. Not word for word.
I think Levine is feeling like there's something with this cult that she wants to check out. This doesn't seem...
You guys keep
She's
calling
met
it
people-
a cult.
I mean, this commune, my bad. I rewrote it in my notes too, but this commune, she wants to check out this
I think that's
she wants to
my
check out...
fault.
Yeah, it's a little... It was the original impression, and now it's stuck in my head. But she wants to check out this commune. She's met people like this Margulis before who have had a very, sometimes literal backstabbing nature, so she is very curious about this. And she's more on board of trying to join the commune to learn more about what's going on there, because something doesn't seem right.
All right. Anybody else you want to talk to about anything before the night's up?
I think Cassandra's probably wanting to still investigate the commune, but she also probably doesn't, like, if Zinnia doesn't want to go, she's not going to force Zinnia. So then we would probably have to maybe discuss if it's smart to split the party or how we would go about splitting the party to investigate.
Oh, can I please go?
Oh, you can come with if you want.
God.
It didn't seem like you wanted to.
Oh, I just was trying to make that person feel better.
Oh, that's fair. Sorry, I took the that we shouldn't go there line to mean you didn't want to go.
Oh, that was subterfuge.
Okay. Yeah, no, we can all go
Zinnia is
then.
right there.
Okay. Where are you going, and when are you going?
So, do you want, I don't know if we should go tonight or in the morning. That's the last choice, really. I think the sooner the better could be okay.
Does
But
everybody
also,
else, like, does Mal and Kel's too, they're down for investigating this place?
Well, Blair kind of has some reservations, especially given their position in the kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
It's really not that they don't want to investigate and find out more if there's anything nefarious going on, but they would need a disguise and or not to be as intricately involved. So they are sort of frowny faced right now at the table, like I don't think I could help as much as I'd like to. You know, I have a position to uphold in Denova, and if we sniff the wrong facts out, that would not be good for me and my dad. And I just made some reparations, and I'm trying to figure out how to exactly lead, and I don't know right now how to go about this. And yeah.
should we go
Blaze.
ask people at the castle?
Oh, I mean, we could just get you a disguise, right? Like a fake mustache.
We could go to the castle for disguise and advice on that.
Yeah, why don't we talk with people in the kingdom? I'd feel better about that, you know, and
Yeah.
at least so that they know if something went wrong, you know? And maybe to get counsel from my dad, he would maybe know when to involve in such affairs or not.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think Levine totally gets that, trying to keep this a little more under wraps before we blow everything up.
I mean, and Blair's gonna look over at Zinnia and just be like, based on what was just relayed, I am concerned for people being exploited. Don't get me wrong. But I would, it's something we have to tread carefully.
So yeah, we can go back to the castle, maybe try to talk with Larice in particular about some of that stuff, hey?
I might even suggest we talk to the library lady, Azara, about if they know anything about the commune or if there's any information on them and history or whatever.
That makes sense too, yeah.
And yeah, maybe we can all stay the night in the castle and like sleep in comfy beds and stuff.
Yeah,
That'd be
Blair's
fun.
definitely on board with going to comfy bed. Blair likes her room. Blair
Thanks.
wants her plushies and everything. You know, let's go.
Levine just wants something private to read that book a bit, but so she's down for that too, but for different reasons.
All right, so you folks are making your way back to the castle for the night?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think that's a good idea for now.
Sounds like it.
Talk with actual royalty about what we should be doing here, because we don't need to be creating an uprising of some sort.
That's because that's the whole thing. Is if they're already investigating it and we step on their toes, that's going to cause its own issues.
Okay. You arrive back at the castle, and you are greeted by the guards who kind of wave you in, and caretaker Larice, who has anticipated your return and made up rooms and beds for the entire party. Individual rooms and beds. And so all of that, you know, that's her job to make sure that all of that stuff is ready and waiting for you folks. And so that is all there when you arrive. Does anyone have anything else they need to do before they go to sleep?
Read my tome on the Armorica history.
Okay.
don't know if I should do like an insight or some kind of investigation check with that, but
Okay.
Blair's gonna. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Blair's gonna pull Larice to the side and just say, can you get some like hydration things for Levine there? They were drinking, you know. I'd feel comfortable knowing that they aren't out of sorts tomorrow morning.
Oh, yes, dear, of course. There's already water in all of your rooms waiting for you.
Oh, thank you. And then Blair's gonna kind of look at the party and like be like, if anyone needs me, my room is upstairs that way.
Levine nods and says thank you and thumbs up. But then she realizes that's not formal. So she's about to go on her knee, but then she realizes she's not supposed to. Then she like kind of like just has this weird staggery thumbs up position.
And then Blair might also talk to Larice about magic items and stuff, because she's still mad about the shopkeeps and all the swindling feels.
He says, "Oh yeah, I bet they saw you coming a mile away. Oh, what can I do for you?"
I'm trying to find something that will make me able to better make use of my magic. I noticed in combat I didn't feel like I was in my element to support my group. I don't know if I have enough on me to do so, or the power yet, I guess.
Let me think on that, and I'll visit you tomorrow morning and see if I can come up with a solution. That being said, part of supporting your group and being a leader is understanding your abilities and how to effectively use them. And so ultimately that decision making comes down to you. And so we of course want to support you as much as possible, but ultimately that comes down to you at some point. And in order to be an effective leader, both in this party and this kingdom, you're going to have to learn how to secure those provisions for yourself someday. But we'll see if we can't get you started on the best foot forward, okay?
Yep. And Blair's gonna nod and be like, thank you, and drift off.
All right, so Blair, any particular book you want to read before bed?
I want to read on the Alonian Empire specifically.
Okay. And Levine, you're reading about our Moroccan history?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other things before bed?
Technically, Cassandra would do something, but it's related to the secret thing you told me earlier.
Okay.
So... Oh yeah, I never mentioned that. I suppose I could tell everybody if I wanted to, right? Or should I?
That's up to you.
I'll keep it a secret for now, since so it's stuff related to that. I'll just
Okay.
DM you that. Hold on.
Yeah, we might DM that out, direct message, not Dungeon Master that out. Yeah, and see how that's gonna roll out. Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do here is, as the night comes to a close, I'm gonna have everybody is gonna go to sleep, and I'm gonna read out a little bit of Elonian and Armorican history to everyone, as part of Blair and Levine's readings, and make that kind of a GM scene for you folks to close out the night. And after that, we'll pick up the next session with whatever you're gonna do next. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All
Yeah.
right, let me see here.
I gotta get my jammies on and brush my teeth for this. This is great.
We can take 5 real quick before this scene. I could use a
I was
drink.
just kidding. I just feel like I can get ready for like bedtime stories like we do for our kids.
Okay, so I should keep going, or
Yes, I think it was.
Yeah, if you
just a
want,
joke.
I'm good still.
It was a joke. If you want to get some water though, I'm like, go for it.
I think I got enough ice that I can make through this. All right. So let's see. I guess the best place to start is some Elonian Empire history. So originally not originally, the previous generation of rulers in the Elonian Empire was ruled by a man named Tellurius Fireheart. And Tellurius was well loved by the Elonian people. However, if you take a look at the map on the Elonian continent, let's see. Elonia is kind of positioned in a weird place. So to the south, there's a set of mountains called the Elonian Hell Ridge. Very, very difficult to pass mountains. And Elonia itself is kind of, it's not like a wasteland, but it's very harsh conditions. It's difficult to grow food, and game is pretty difficult to come by. You can't really farm very much. And most of the timber in the mountains was cut down in order to help build homes and everything. They do make attempts in the bays to fish around the Elonian Peninsula there. However, the seas are relatively treacherous, and so Elonia frequently went through famines. And Tellurius, he believed that him as a ruler, his suffering should be the same as his people. And so he never lived in splendor while his people lived in squalor. He did, however, make well-fed his progeny, his only daughter named Juliana. And Juliana Fireheart, now the Empress of the Elonian Empire, watched her father die due to poor health brought on by complications of this famine and not utilizing all of the resources at his disposal in order to stay healthy. And so Juliana is there's one quote that is well known by Juliana, and it's said to really have defined the beginning of the Elonian expansion. She says, "My father believed that his hardship and suffering should be equal to that of his people. He was loved by his people, but their love cost him his life and broke my heart. I will not be subdued by such weakness." And let's see. So the Elonian Hell Ridge had been again stripped of timber in order to build ships, but the mountain interiors were found to be rich in metal ores, and the metal powers the war machine of the Empire. And research into harnessing magitech using metals that resonate with magical energy catapulted the Elonian military into a force the likes of which Calibri had never seen. Juliana ordered the Hell Ridge to be mined day and night without end, and all Elonians are now required to serve in the military. And this was actually the condition on which Desdemona and Tristan were recalled from the Stormkeep in order to serve in the Elonian military. Peoples that are conquered by the Empire are now the labor used to mine the Hell Ridge. These laborers are given rest and sustenance as it improves the output of Elonian metals, but the choice to work the mines is not their own. In this fashion, Elonia conquered the entirety of the continent in which it resides. Juliana pushes her reach ever further with a goal of redistributing the world's resources so that no one ever experiences the hardships of her people and her father. Next came the annexation of Armorica. So the United States of Armorica was the next logical target beyond the Elonian continent, based not only on the plentiful and fertile lands, but also on the existing deposits of metal that Elonians need to expand their war machine. And it was a massacre. Armorica had done some preparation, but intelligence on Elonia's Magitech advancements was basically non-existent. So Armorica was prepared for conventional warfare, but not the massive siege and range superiority of the Elonian Empire. Desdemona and her brother Tristan were in the Elonian vanguard. Desdemona's loyalty to her country and duty to protect her brother made her ruthless, vicious, and unflinching in her campaign against the forces of Armorica. Tristan, fearing for Desdemona's soul and mental health, urges her to show restraint, and Desdemona hesitated in this moment, and a fearful Armorican prisoner of war used that moment, that hesitation, to slit Tristan's throat. Desdemona holds her brother as he dies gasping and crying in her arms. During this time, Levine is a part of strategic operations for Armorica against the advice of her family and friends. One particular friend, known only as Trep, was vehemently opposed to her presence in operations. He claimed that the royal family hamstrung the efforts of the Armorican military leadership in making the decisions required to defend the country. Levine insisted on operations focusing on learning more about Magitech, while Trep and other officers were focused on distribution of forces to early detection and evacuation of civilian targets. Ultimately, Trep would be the one who opened the door for the Elonians, and the one who wounded Levine during her escape. During Levine's escape from the capital and the continent of Armorica to the Dark Armor Mountains, she collected news articles in hopes of learning more about her family and the circumstances under which Armorica surrendered. What she found horrified and infuriated her. The press indicated that the Empire was invited to the capital, and officials between the two nations came to an agreement in which the continents would unite and share resources, which is very much not the experience that Levine had, which was essentially an overthrow and a coup. Now an Elonian officer for his role in the fall of Armorica, Trep revealed to the Empire one Professor Harlan out of a small village known as Pemble. Harlan's scientific exploits intrigued Elonia, looking to enhance their Magitech dominance. It was thought that the Empire's reach would halt before the United Straits of Armorica, but a small strike force of elite Elonian troopers led by Trep sped toward Pemble and took him in the night using stealth. Professor Harlan is forced to work on new Magitech developments for the Empire somewhere in the Elonian capital. It is said that he is responsible for technological advancements seen in sea and airships used by the Empire, as well as the construct soldiers they now employ. The massive amount of land is proving difficult to secure by Elonia while they build up these construct soldier forces. The eastern continent on which Denova resides is left relatively unmolested by the Empire, but a confrontation is inevitable. The fate of the small continent to the west of Armorica is unknown. Civilization is not known to have developed extensively there. Elonian spies are seeking new means and materials for controlling magic in order to enhance their military dominance. It is Juliana's secret hope to find and wield a power so great that all nations submit to Elonian rule without further bloodshed. This is about the time when rumors of the power to conquer death begin to reach Elonia. Many natural magics have opposing relationships, which this information was revealed to you by Preserver Ashara earlier. Let's see. So details of soul magic are extremely limited as practitioners seldom survive its cost. One artifact thought to be lost is said to have harnessed soul magic to the point of returning life to the deceased. Juliana commands her officers to find this artifact, and Desdemona shouts down every other voice in the room in her bid to volunteer for the mission. Maybe, just maybe, it could bring her brother back and spare the lives of any others in her service. Juliana believes it can bring back her father and a generation of Elonians starved unjustly. And that is as much as I'm going to give you on that stuff right now. And let's say everybody gets a Fabula point for that for a villain showing up in that scene. And that's where I think we're going to conclude the night.